I'm live. Am I live? Are we live? Oh my god, I think we're live. Yep, we're live. We're live, pal. Finally. About that fucking time, I guess. You know, it's weird. I still haven't gotten accustomed to all of this stuff quite yet, and I'm in here trying to figure out, and it's like, okay, can I get into the chat yet? Are we gonna figure out how everything goes? But, no, we're finally here. Yo. At least I think so. Yep, nope, we're live. Okay. I just want to make sure that I'm in the chat when it comes to this stuff. I have it on the phone this time so I can be on my regular, or I guess on the, well, this channel's account instead of just being on my alt account. So if I wanted to type anything over there, then we could at least have it there. So, I think we're good. Are we good? Is anybody in there? Somebody give me a high five. Brian? Somebody? Help? George? Anybody in there? I think we're live. If we're not, we are live. Alright. Now I'm trying to get this goddamn fucking Rumble one working as well, because I want to be over there, okay? I don't have any faith at all whatsoever that this can work as well. And if I can't get it working real quick, well, fuck it, I'll just upload it afterwards. But I think we're all good so far, so we are live. Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're live right now. Okay, everything's all good and going. So, yeah. It says that I've been recording for about 3 minutes, but everybody else is all good to go. So, I don't know. So, yeah, now live for about a minute and a half. So, I guess I can put out everything else as well as everybody trickles in. I can just go ahead and blast this out that we are, in fact, live here. So, reacting. Okay, so. Oh, what should I put out there? Okay. Maybe not that. The Tates is cause for celebration. Relive. Relive. One of the podcasts that put him on. There we go. How about that? I think that'll work. Now if I can get a stupid link for this goddamn thing. I swear to God, eventually. Yo, what up, Roger, man? No, it's glad. I'm really happy everybody's here. That's it's really nice to see. I'm glad it wasn't not a one-hit wonder, okay? And just, oh fuck, oh my god. I still have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, by the way. But eventually I'll figure it out. I swear to God, unless the stream once it ends. I think if I probably go to my channel though, if I go directly there, I should be able to find it. I'm just thinking. Okay. Okay. Yep. No. Okay. So that's there. I just don't want to hear any sound because it's just me nattering back and forth. But I swear to God, we will have something going here very, very shortly. I just want to get this out. Okay. On YouTube. Okay. So that one there. And I don't know. Really needed to figure out how to get the Rumble one going. But then at the same time, I don't want to compromise this. It's just so fucking screwed. Why can't OBS just allow somebody to stream to multiple locations? Okay. So, oh, man. Gonna have to figure it out next time. Fuck it. We do it live. And because we do it live, well, some things just have to fall by the wayside, I guess. Fucking, oh well. So, I need to get this fucking chat on screen. How about that? And I swear to God, I will eventually chat. There we go. That's the one that I want. There. Sweet. All right. Cool. I think we're good. We good to go? We're all here? Okay. We're all here. So, George, what was the reason they give for deleting... Oh, for deleting my health channel. Do you guys want to go over that? Just for... Because... I just threw it in there into the third video, which is doing exceedingly well, and I'm super happy to see that. Just as we let some people trickle in, we'll probably get to most of the comments, or most of the content, because I got 3 different clips I want to play for everybody. One to, just kind of dunk on Eliza Blue for a hot second, because that bitch right there kicked everything off, kind of for the channel, and then for other things as well. And I think that'd be kind of fun to go over as well, at least for the time being. So yeah, we can do that. But yeah, I don't. How fucking long is this goddamn bust on? But let's just go ahead. I'm gonna go right here. I can have the chat. Yo, why isn't the chat bigger? Sorry, eventually I'll be a professional, okay, guys? There we go. That's better. That's better. So, okay. I can go here. Okay, 12.5. Yeah, okay. Let's go right to the capture. Okay, there we go. So, okay, I got this pinned right up to the top. So this is the email. This is the email that I seen this morning when I woke up. I just looked over and, well, after, got everything ready, and I crank out a couple of push-ups before I go for a run, and I just check my email, make sure nothing goes wrong, and guess what? Lo and behold, something is wrong. So I received this, and it says, "You have repeatedly and severely violated the community guidelines." No. There's there was, at least at the time, 2 active strikes. One was for, check this, okay. I did a video on ivermectin and the fact that it was being researched to help out cancer. And that one got struck. I have no idea why. I'm still over on Rumble and everything's all fine and dandy over there. It makes 0 sense at all whatsoever. But whatever, you eat the ban for that one. The other one, I don't even understand. And then, of course, because there's a warning on top of that, well, that one was for, oh, fuck, what was that for? I think that was just for a CDC-funded study. I just found certain efficacy when it comes to the mythical horse paste that was out there. Yeah, wonderful. Fantastic stuff that they have down there. So I got all of those 3 right within couple of weeks of one another, and then everything's just been kind of dark. Everything that I had related to the coof over on that second channel, I just put it all on private, put it in the background. Even the video that was getting real close to it would have had over 10,000 views at this point in time, doing exceedingly well, and a couple of other follow-up ones on the same stuff. The different clots that were down there, yeah, so all of those videos ended up. Yeah, okay, cool, thanks. Sorry, the chat's just moving. All of this stuff is really, really slow when it comes to this. Yeah, how dare you be healthy? Yeah, I know, exactly. Or just disseminate some good information. So that's what I ended up getting, okay? Yeah, I caught all that stuff, and everything's still over on Rumble, which I'm incredibly thankful for, and I'm going to have to figure out how to properly stream over on Rumble, because it really pisses me off that I'm just kind of required to be on YouTube right now. It's either here or there. We'll have to see where it ends up working. But yeah, then, okay, within, where do I have this one here as well? So yeah, 8:35 in the morning, I file my appeal. And it's like, they give you 1,000 characters in order to come up with an appeal. The fuck? Okay, yeah, here. We're going to carefully go over the entirety of your channel that you've had up and active since August of 2021. Okay, yeah. Carefully go over. Yo, peek the time right up there at the top. 8:35 a.m. That's the auto reply that I got, and it says, "Yeah, we're looking at your account to just thoroughly go over it." And then within 14 minutes, they carefully went over a channel that had like 300 videos on it. Yeah, actually no, it would have been closer to the 500 videos that's on it. Oh yeah, no, you're definitely in violation. They gave me no specific reason that I got rid of that second channel. So the only thing that I can see right now, it wasn't monetized or anything like that. It wasn't getting kicked up to the main channel, the different accounts. The only thing that I've heard when it comes to maybe losing another channel congruent with the other one is if they're linked up with bank accounts. That one had 200 subscribers on it, a whole bunch of videos, a whole bunch of just like real feel-good videos that were out there, and then they just got rid of it. Now, if there's a demand for it, otherwise I'll probably just go back and do at least recut a whole bunch of the different topics that I was talking about while I was on there. So we'll go ahead and do that stuff going forward into the future, but I still have all the old content. It's still on my hard drives and stuff like that. So yeah, man, I don't know. So if anything happens to this channel, it's always going to be the Rumble channel. 1000%. All of that stuff is always going to be there, even if things just end up taking a trip off a cliff when it comes to YouTube. But keep that stuff up over there. So hopefully, does that fill in the blanks on that one? I really do hope so. Okay, and yeah, leaving it up there, and yeah, I don't know. It's just disappointing more than anything else, but let's just see what you guys are saying in the chat. This shit doesn't fucking roll fast enough for me. Okay, yeah, what up? Yeah, exactly. Ivor Mecton, he's still around. He is around. He is around, and you're not allowed to talk about it, apparently, at least on a secondary channel. I think it's about that time. I think it's about that time to start digging into what's happening with the Tate boys. You guys, hey man, I was incredibly happy to see this stuff yesterday. The last time that, well, not the last time, obviously yesterday, covered pretty much everything up to and when the guys all got back to the house. Jesus Christ, I'm just completely out of sorts right now. Yeah, 6 million. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, what's Andrew doing out there? Walking around with just the scraggy hair, and for being in jail since December 27th, yo, that dude looked like he could have probably fucked up everybody in that Romanian cell. Like, holy, he ruined this generation. Who, me? Oh, sorry to hear about that. Oh, whatever, man. But no, the first thing he does is have a smoke. So, well, like a cigar, if you will. I don't necessarily think that, that whole cancer scare, I don't think that there's much validity to that now, is there? Since last year, this is directly from Tate, okay? A lot of people have reposted this, obviously. Since last year, I've been in 24-hour lockdown. That is technically true. No yard time. Yo, pacing a 3-meter cell with 0 electronics or outside contact. Absolute clarity of mind. Real thoughts. Real plans. Vivid pain. 1 hour home, and I can't stand my phone. Some habits die hard. We must defeat Shaitan. Yep. By plotting revenge on your enemies? Like, the fuck, man? It sucks. Yeah, what do you expect with YouTube? Yeah, just continue. With a gun? What the fuck? Yo, man, I need to stop looking at the chat. That's for True City, okay? So, yeah. Andrew Tate ruined a junior. Andrew Tate, yeah, I don't even know if we need to respond to that, because that's just absolutely ridiculous. Or maybe you'll change your mind by the end of this. How about that? So that's what Andrew's up to. Okay, I haven't seen any real life in-person updates from him outside of the one video and him just kind of shit posting on a couple of other things. But Tristan, on the other hand, okay, he came out with a goofy beard and the long scraggly hair, went for a haircut, and guess what? Like, I quote tweeted this, and I said that you can imprison the man, but you can't imprison the mind, and he doesn't look any different at all whatsoever, as opposed to when he went in. The strength of these guys' minds, and especially coming out of it when we looked at the clips when they were standing just outside of the just outside of the prison, is just amazing. It's fantastic, the quality of individuals that these guys are, and they have total frame control, and that's what I really respect. On top of all of this stuff, the world can be melting down, okay, their businesses could be set on fire, and there is just got the need to get the chat off of screen, my god. Yeah, everything could be going down around these guys, but hey man, all they need to do is just reframe, and as long as they have each other, it's all copacetic, man, and it doesn't matter going forward, because, okay, there can be a whole host of different problems going forward into the future, okay? Obviously, the case isn't done yet, okay? The fact that I said that they're free, it's partially true. Home arrest is free, right? Kind of, sort of. They can at least be back on social media, which is just kind of a boon to everybody. And then just taking a look at what Tristan's been doing, he's been way more active on social media, okay? Yo, you didn't get the notification, Quets? What the fuck, man? Oh my god. See, that's why I need to figure out Rumble. There's going to be notifications, but I'm always going to be going live. I aim for 7 o'clock, but to be completely honest, it'll be a couple of minutes after, okay? I had to do a costume change. And then also, hey man, because you know the stuff that we're, that we're going to be doing. hey man, you got to look the part every once in a while. That and the fact that I've been staring into lights all day and my eyes get tired, and I can actually see better. Here's the goddamn thing about it, okay? My glasses that I normally wear, and given the fact that we're doing a whole bunch of reading, I can see better with my contacts. My glasses are just absolute ass, and staring into the lights is kind of difficult as well. Like, I got very sensitive eyes, god damn it, but that's neither here nor there, okay? So what's Tristan been up to? Okay, so he was looking for guy. Like, I don't know much about this story. I've seen it a couple of different times. Okay, this man defended me, and I saw his comment section. Wrong. I know this man exists, and he has my respect. His IRL friends weren't worth keeping if they couldn't respect his opinions. Yeah, exactly. See, this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying iron frame on these guys. Okay, everybody probably has those friends who, whenever you grow, they don't want to see you grow. They don't want to see you get better because they became friends with a version of you that you no longer want to be, that you understand is not beneficial to the improvement of you as an individual. And the inherent state for human beings is not really liking change all of that much. So if somebody sees you trying to strive for better, you want to go to the gym, well, they just want to go. No, I'll just go ahead and draw on an old example that I have. I was very dedicated to the gym, still am at this point in time, at least exercise. I got weights and shit like that at my place. So going to the gym is not very necessary. And given the fact that they were all shut down for the better part of 3 years in stupid northern Canada of all places, okay? Is Tristan known for anything apart from other than Andrew's brother? He's more of the behind the scenes guy. George. He does a lot more of the business stuff when it comes to the War Room and Hustlers University. Outside of that, though, like as a public facing individual, not so much that I know, not so much that differentiates the two. Andrew's more of the vocal, charismatic front, and Tristan, if you've ever listened to an interview or a podcast of him, he's very articulate, he's very smart, and he's very focused on what he's talking about, as opposed to Andrew, who's very braggadocious, who we're going to see here once we get to the official podcast. So, oh man, Sonny's, hey, there we go. Yeah, man. Sometimes I got to. They're Ray-Bans, like actual Ray-Bans, not cheap-ass Ray-Bans, by the way. But not that here I am flexing like a fucking asshole. But no. Yeah. What was I talking about? Right, iron frame on, Tristan, and that's why I don't want, no women. I don't know who you are. Cupcake, but I'm glad you're here, and thanks for hanging out in the chat. And yeah, Quetzal gave you the wrench there, so if anything decides to go sideways, that's all on you, buddy. You go ahead and you police the chat as you see fit. I totally, yo man, you're just blowing stuff up. Holy fuck there. Okay, yeah, but if anybody's in there and you guys are, he can go ahead and police all that stuff. Yeah, Sonny's looking good. So, I like Andrew Tate from the Mage. Yo, you guys are based, but he's in character. Yes, Stone Cold Steve. Yeah. Yeah, no. Roger, man, you got it completely 100%, man. You listen to the guys on the podcast, both of the Tate brothers. It's just taking their personality, just like I stated one of the earlier videos today. All you need to do is just turn your charisma up to 11. If you're an interesting individual, if you can captivate an audience by looking into a camera, speaking into a microphone, you have power, you have influence, and with that influence and with that power comes some very, very dangerous enemies, and then also at the same time some very fervent supporters, like Tristan. Let's get specific on this one. Tristan is pointing out here, and what's the content? Yeah, comments here. Okay, so bro lost IRL friends through defending a guy who doesn't know he exists. It doesn't matter, man. Like, I've done how many different videos? 10, 15, 20 when it comes to the Tate brothers. I'm never going to meet them. I'm never going to interact with them. I've never sent them a DM. I've tagged them in a couple of posts because it's relevant and because you have to, in the way that, Twitter and YouTube works. But outside of that, I see a couple of guys who are good representations, very strong representations of masculinity in a day and age where that's all but vilified. think of it what you will, and I think we're going to get into it because this is one of those podcasts. The one that I picked out here today is the Dave Portnoy interview. Okay, now this is the one that was going on in between all of the different Aiden Ross streams, the XQC stream, what were the other ones? There was the Hassan one as well. I think everybody's seen all of that stuff as well, but this one, I didn't see a whole bunch of reactions to this one, even at the time. So I've listened to bits and pieces of it. I've seen some of the clips that came off of it, but I think that this is, especially from the clips that I've seen, this is Andrew at his best. And I think he touches on a bunch of different topics as well, and I think that would be a good one to go through. But like I said at the beginning, and now we're just going to get into the podcast because it's just rambling when it comes to Tristan. Yeah, he stands up for people who stands up for him, regardless if anybody's going to notice, okay? That's just being a good, congruent individual, and I think that should be lauded instead of being derided. You lose some friends. Some friends suck. Guess what, okay? They're never going to achieve any sort of greatness. They're just happy if you're sitting next to them on a couch, drinking a beer, having a handful of chips. They're never going to amass anything more than just an average life with an average wife and an average life expectancy. They're going to grow up. They're going to pump out maybe a kid or two who's just going to grow up and hate them. And they're just maybe or maybe not, depending on how the coin flip lands, they're going to get divorced. They're going to end up having to build all over again and then just end up blaming themselves. And then they're just going to die with a fucking one date that signifies the beginning of their meaningless life and the end of their meaningless life. Shit like that happens. It's incumbent on you because you're going to be inundated with those people day after day. It's incumbent on you to suss out who's good, who's bad, who to leave, who to rock with. Chances are, if you can understand concepts about how you're going to be an improved individual, that group of people that you rock with, that you fuck with, that you know have your back regardless of anything, regardless of what could possibly pop up, that's going to be a small, tight-knit group. You can have a whole bunch of friends that are out there. I would consider them to be associates, really. But if you can find some good quality individuals, if you know the skills in order to suss them out, they're worth more than having an entire stadium full of friends. Good friends in quantity or in quality are so much better than just a bunch of friends in quantity. I think I said that right. I think so. And if not, yo man, thanks for showing up, Cupcake. I'm not reading all this stuff. There's too many paragraphs that you have right there. I don't know if your Sims pay attention to that shit or not, but I ain't got time for all of that stuff. So what I wanted to do was just simply set the stage to begin with. So where did all of this stuff really start to pique the public interest? And a big talking point and a big reason that a lot of people showed up on the channel right here was all due to Eliza Blue and her very stupid advocacy of the Moldovan girl and the U.S. girl. You guys are familiar with the background of the Moldovan and the U.S. girl, right? I don't know if I need to go back and paint the picture of them, but long story short, the U.S. girl from Miami, Emily, I think it's Emily. Emily has a history of different false accusations on her record. Oh, she's very good at making up stories, and in fact, this one stuck. And then you had the Moldovan girl who tried to exploit Andrew for 200,000 euros. Fantastic. They're the two most vocal victims in the situation, and there's supposedly 6 in total, right? 2, who the fuck knows if they even exist? And then the other 2, we want nothing to do with it. Jasmine and Beatrice? I think there's that. I'm pretty sure. I know one's Beatrice, but the other one, not entirely sure. Tam Khan did an interview, I think, with Beatrice, and she's like, I don't want to be a part of I'm not a victim. It's all good. We love Tates over here. But according to the activist female judge, she's brainwashed. You know, strong, independent women until they want to support the Tates. Then they're all just brainwashed. That makes sense, right? Yeah, of course. So, yo, man. Very cult like, very, yo man, thanks for the interaction, I guess. But outside of that, okay, so circling back to Eliza Blue here for a second, I think we got the groundwork done, right? More or less. So Eliza Blue is advocating, and in researching and bringing up the clips, I've seen zero movement at all whatsoever, even with the Tates in prison. This civil lawsuit from the girls themselves, haven't seen moved forward at all whatsoever, but she had such a tear-jerking story, guys. It was so sad because they're victims, and I know it says that they're alleged, but they're all survivors. Fucking yuck. So I think it's appropriate to just go back over the original accusations before we get into everything else, right? Because the boys are free. And that's a good thing to see, at least for the time being, on house arrest. Obviously, the statute of limitations when it comes to the entire investigation can only go up for 6 months, right? So there's everything can still stay open until June 27th, I do believe, is the drop dead date where charges are going to have to be filed, or the Romanian government admits, yeah, we really got nothing on these boys because we haven't seen any development so far other than, well, exculpatory evidence that maybe the courts ended up figuring out. But we'll get to that in due time. But first and foremost, I think it's about some time we start playing some videos. Mostly because your boy kind of needs a drink because he's been talking too much. So make sure that all of the sound is good. Okay, I don't want to I don't want to have anything sounding bad. I am a professional after all. Yeah, I'm going to move the chat to the other side because seeing that all the time is really bumming me out. Oh, for Pete's sake. Eventually I'll have a second monitor, I swear to God. Trying to make my laptop work, but that's not working all that well. So let's just make sure, because then I can monitor the sound level so that I know you guys can hear everything all great and stuff. Okay. So that's good there. That's good there. All right. So here was... Oh, I need my keyboard and I need my controls. Now that I got all your guys' controls in place. Okay, so I have this fast forwarded directly to when Eliza reads her maudlin statement. It's been a second since I've actually heard this in full. So, yeah. Ugh, I can't believe the first video we're going to play is Eliza Blue. But that's all right. It actually does improve after this significantly. So without further ado.
So before I say what I'm about to say, I just want to let everyone know that I serve these survivors, speaking here as their survivor advocate. And to anyone that needs more information, I will be giving information at the end of this. So if survivors need to step forward, and as always, anytime I'm on a show, just know you can reach out to the human trafficking hotline at any time. I can also give that number throughout this stream as well.
Yeah.
So let's get it going.
Yes,
tonight
do.
I might use the word allegedly at certain points. This has been advised by legal.
Yeah, of course.
Not because I don't believe the survivors that I serve, but it's the legal way to do it. So let's get it going. This is an official press release. These are not my words. This is a survivor.
Oh, it's a survivor.
As a survivor of the Tate brothers, I understand how difficult it can be to come forward and speak out about what happened to you. But when social media gives us a glimpse into the extreme harm that others cause, I feel obligated to step forward and speak out against it.
Or make up stories in the lack of real evidence.
If these words can prevent one woman from being an alleged victim of Andrew and Tristan Tate, it justifies the risk that I'm taking. It can be scary.
What risk? What risk on false accusations? Bro, for every one chick in the UK, the one that got 8.5 years for beating the brakes off of herself with a fucking hammer, there was another Twitter video that was going around, and fuck if I could find it. There was this dumb bitch who set up a fucking tripod and started beating herself with a hammer as well in order to make bruising occur so she could lay false accusations on her boyfriend for who the fuck knows what reason. But yo, that shit happens all the time. Not like a huge amount. Okay, not all women are going to do that, but all women can do that. You know that old saying? But yo, man, to just say this is the great risk for girls who have never been formally identified. It's a great risk, though. Shut your mouth.
Overwhelming, and you may feel like you don't have anyone to turn to.
Yeah, I hear
if you or someone you know is a survivor, know that you are not alone and that there is help available.
Yes, the courts will help you figure out if you're actually not alone or not, because we'll just make up a couple of friends for you if you're super lonely.
By coming forward together, we may be able to find justice for ourselves and prevent these perpetrators from hurting anyone else.
What would that look like, justice for
It
yourself?
it is a brave and important step towards healing and finding closure. I know it can be hard to take this first step, but I promise you that there are resources and people ready and available to help you through this process. Don't let fear or shame keep you from speaking out. Let this be a reminder that you deserve to be heard, to feel safe and supported.
Exactly.
You have the absolute right to seek justice. This is a moment and an opportunity for any victim of these alleged perpetrators to stand up, and together we can recognize vulnerability as power, see the strength in numbers, and shine light on strength of every single survivor. Signed, an anonymous survivor.
Two, right?
The second statement.
That was so great. This next one, I think she starts to cry.
This will be survivor 2. For women who have been victimized, we didn't know the game that was being played to hurt us.
Oh.
We didn't know a game was being played at all. It's only after it happens and you lose that you know.
No, you lose.
Whether the lover boy method or some other way.
Yo, can we just pause on the lover boy method? Okay, what's alleged to be the lover boy method is selling a girl a dream. Wow, if lying to a bitch that you're trying to sleep with is all of a sudden a criminal offense, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you'd be going to jail. Yeah, no, exactly. It's not a crime. It's really not a crime. But if you want to try to say that all of a sudden, oh, that's human trafficking. Oh my God, he made me do some horrific things. At gunpoint, at machete point. Well, I seen some clips online and he has a machete. You're out of your skull. It's the exact same tactics that women do all the time. Like, it's nothing new, man. Okay. Just take accountability for your actions. You fucked a famous guy. He didn't want to give you a relationship. Just hold the L. Shit happens, bro. Like, come on.
Victims know that this game of deception is used in the court of public opinion today. To the people who've made assumptions about the victims before trial, I forgive you. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's so emotional.
I won't ask.
Yep.
I won't ask those people to change their opinion for our sake. I would just ask them to consider one thing. What if you're wrong?
No, you.
Is it possible? And if it is, you can wait for the court to do its job before attacking. Those who have gone about the correct legal process for justice.
And you're representing
to all the
them?
victims out there,
That's interesting.
I know how wounded you feel. I have felt that way too.
Sure.
I love each and every one of you for being brave enough to move forward despite those feelings. You are loved, and know how strong you and many know how strong you have been.
Stupid.
Signed, anonymous survivor.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's about all I want to listen to of that, because that's, from the anonymous survivors, yes, from the Miami Liar, and from the UK Reformed Cokehead. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. And a lot of people have dug through the history there, I being one of them, because I see false accusations. I hear stories like this. Oh, it's just, I felt so bad about the situation. What was the situation? The one that I felt bad about. Where's your evidence? Where's anything that's going on in regards to anything that can be verifiable and checked out? Oh, you don't have anything of that? Fantastic. Just come back around with some actual proof, and maybe we can have some charges if they're there, because that's always been my position. Okay, if the Tates did anything fucked up, well, they deserve to face the full extent of the law. But everything that I've seen on one side, it just points me directly in one direction. And, well, not that one direction, that shit's gay. But if there was actually any proof that these guys were doing anything fucked up, fullest extent of the law should be brought down upon them. And, of course, everything should be challenged from there. But that shit doesn't exist, man. And People were just big mad because this dude fucking popped off big time last year, and it was, hey man, it was a lot of fun to see. I don't know, maybe just take like a rough poll in the chat. Did you guys like follow any of the live streams that were going on? I didn't watch all of them. I seen clips of most of them. I seen probably the big ones. I seen the debate specifically with XQC, the one where that dude came out and is like, no, if there's anything bad that happens to my girlfriend and me in the house, that means we both go there, and whoever's the more capable fighter. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Well, that's a real man right there. Biggest streamer on Twitch, right? Good stuff. But then the Hassan, the women are better drivers because insurance rates, and they don't get in as many accidents. Duh. Yo, man, that's why I'm never going to be on Twitch, because if those are the biggest cats in the arena, you guys can fucking have that ball of yarn. That's wonderful, and that's fantastic. You stay over there. Don't really care that much about it. But one of the other podcasts, like I said before, okay, the Dave Portnoy one. Now, I've seen this one talked about a lot. I just, in researching, and because the poll just went, what was it? What did the poll end up with? Like 75% in favor of a Tate reaction? Well, I aim to please, so figuring out, and it's like, okay, I always wanted to go back and listen to this one. It's, about an hour long, I think, that he's on there for. Listen to some of the clips that popped up as well, and I think that this is Tate probably at his best, at least at his sharpest, at refuting some points against somebody else who is, I'm not a big fan of Barstool Sports at all whatsoever. I think it's just kind of, pick and choose politics and then just throw it on with whatever's cool. There's such thing as a Barstool conservative. Can you point out exactly what you mean by that? Or are you just trying to be one of the cool kids to hop on the conservatism bandwagon? Because that's what it really seems like to me. But then again, hey, if you like that type of stuff, given the fact that they kind of... They aim to reestablish some sort of sensible sports coverage, because I like sports a lot. I really do like sports a lot, okay? When it comes to baseball, big fan of baseball. Spent hours and hours. That was my childhood, man, just watching Jays games and, whoever else would come across the dial. Being out in the west of Canada, you would get a hell of a lot of Seattle Mariners games on King 5, NBC. That would be the affiliate that we got up here. Every once in a while, you'd be able to catch a Dodgers game, but listening to any of the coverage, okay, and especially sports talk radio, drives me to drink in a way that nothing else could possibly do. But if they're trying to, and I haven't really listened to much of their stuff, mostly because it's just, whenever I see it, it takes the worst aspects of frat bro nature. It does one of those things where it's like, oh, that seems cool. It's the dorks that could never get invited to the frat parties, and they try to do this weird approximation of what is frat bro culture and takes all the worst aspects of it. It's the exact same way that you see from a guy who starts lifting, okay, or has this opinion of other guys that are in the gym and then they start lifting, or I'll eventually get this right. Fucking Christ, I'm all over the place, and given the fact that it's way too dark. How about that? It's way too dark. But yeah, you got the meatheads that are out there, and then you have a certain persona of them. You all think that they're just going to be the heavy Neanderthals, just grunting and sweating and get the fuck out of the way, that's my bench. When in actuality, if you go down to a gym and you start lifting, they're nothing like that at all whatsoever. So it's guys LARPing when it comes to sports coverage. So got nothing against it. It's obviously wildly popular. I just don't know why a social commentary podcast spins off of that, because Dave Portnoy, his relationship past is sketchy to say the least. So maybe he's just on the sly trying to get some pointers from Tate. Like, that would kind of make sense, I guess, right? But we'll see, because I've only heard, because I think he really goes into the female pilot side of this stuff. But outside of that, I don't know much about this. I don't know if anybody else has watched this. I can take a look at what the chat is saying. That was a great commentator from Mariners back in the day. Yo, that's for true. That's for true. You recommends me get removed. I don't understand why. Yeah. No. Yeah, it's fucking wild, man. But without further ado, I swear to God, I'll eventually get back on point. But, yeah. No, anyways, yeah, I just want to get into this one because, yeah, I seen it was interesting. Haven't ever gone back to it, but let's see how well Tate fares on this one. So, make sure all the sound is good. Yeah, we got the booster on. I'll just make sure that the booster isn't too goofy when it comes to that stuff as well. So,
Sir Andrew Tate, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So we were, while you were in the waiting room, we went around the horn. So Josh is the one who's like, "Yep, we gotta get this guy on the show. Going to be a huge episode." Up top, Bree and O'Malley were like,
good.
"We researched them yesterday,
okay.
And everybody's a buzz. Watched all your clips, and I'm just a little bit confused." So we got people
by the
coming
way,
at it.
I have it on 1.25 speed. If you guys at any point in time want me to speed it up or anything like that, we'll just go ahead and do that. But as of right now, $1.25 speed. That's what we started last week when it came to the Ron DeSantis interview. But those motherfuckers speak so long. I can do this. George, I think you hit the nail on the head there. But if this one doesn't really pan out like that, I wanted to do the second round when it came to Piers Morgan, Andrew Tate the second time around, mostly because of his expert frame control, especially on some very touchy issues. But if this one doesn't end up working out like that, or we still got spare time at the end of this, we might go take a look at that, or that could be something to do at a later date. But if you guys want to watch that one, we can watch that one. But I think this one will be good. I think it'll be good. I have faith.
From 3 different angles. So you do a million different things. Reading the prep sheet, kickboxer, Mensa. You run an OnlyFans, like managing girls, right?
I do. Yeah, you're right. I do a million different things. It's eclectic. I understand that if you look from the outside and it's the first time trying to understand how it all works. I get it. It's a bit confusing.
So then that's probably a perfect segue. If you were introducing yourself, how would you describe yourself? Like, what do you do? Who are you?
Yeah, elevator pitch.
Yes.
Elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Andrew Tate, 4-time kickboxing world champion, and I've conquered the internet. I decided to conquer it, and I took it, and it's all mine. So that's basically what happened.
That's pretty vague.
Wow.
I in my headline on Instagram, I say I invented the internet. You're saying you conquered it.
If you invented it, I apologize because I didn't mean to take it from you. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's fine. So, like, what's your biggest platform? I mean, just looked at TikTok. You haven't conquered there yet.
Haven't I?
How many followers you got?
I don't have an account.
It's a fake account that I'm looking at?
I don't have an account. I don't have an
That's
account.
what I was telling you, Dave. That's what I was telling you. You have people make the accounts for you, essentially, right?
There are thousands and thousands of new videos of me on TikTok per day, and I don't have a TikTok account.
Okay, so if you're sitting on a plane filming,
Isn't that kind of amazing? And then it also harkens back to something that we talked about earlier in the stream, that when you are engaging on camera and talking into a microphone, you have an unlimited opportunity when it comes to spreading your influence. And because it's funny because this predates all of the bannings, every single one of them. So you still had access to every single platform. From what I hear over on TikTok, whenever you specifically, a specific individual gets banned, anytime that any of the content pops up, it immediately just gets taken down. Don't know if the offending channel gets taken down, but that seems to be the Stasi policy over on China's favorite app. But yeah, he never had he never had a specific account. Like the only I think that was the only decentralized place, but it was definitely the place that helped him go viral because of, well, the way that algorithm works. It's like, oh, you watched one piece of Tate content, here's 95 other pieces and everybody else was creating them at the time. It was wild, and that will be a tactic that will be studied for a long, long, long time. The ability to just simply take over the most viral base level platform at a certain time in order to spread your message, spread your brand awareness, spread your name around, because he was the first person realistically that I can think of that went as viral as he did, as quickly as he did. Because if you have a rapper, if you have an artist, and maybe it's a little bit more difficult now in today's day and age to have somebody go that viral. Like every once in a while you see the song pop up, like obviously with all of the publicity, and any publicity is good publicity when it comes to something like Cardi B, WAP, or whatever, just the old tired go-to when it comes to examples of this stuff. But like it popped off, and I don't even know how many billions of plays that has, but the size Gangnam Style, but that was just kind of gone and here and gone. But for anybody to really take off like this from relative obscurity. If you didn't know who he was beforehand, he would have just seemed to come through like just like a thief in the night, just show up and then just be summarily tossed out without any reason at all whatsoever. That's why I feel a special kinship, especially with, other channel getting deleted earlier today. Anyways.
Presumably yourself. How does that go from that phone to TikTok?
I'll put it on Twitter or I'll put it on an Instagram story, and then people will grasp it and they'll grab hold of it, and then they will digest it and edit it up and put their own spin on it, and then it will end up out there in the metaverse.
Gotcha. All right, so that makes sense. So you have the only social media then that you don't have is TikTok.
I don't have TikTok. I don't know. There's a bunch of new ones all the young kids are into. I don't know. I don't have a lot of things. I'm an Instagram guy. I have Instagram, and that's about it.
Okay, so
have WeChat?
Emery Andrew Tate the third, Cobra Tate.
That's it. At Cobra Tate, correct.
Okay, so you haven't conquered it totally if we're at 2 million followers on Instagram.
You're right. My elevator pitch was a bit weak. I
think at the time that he was banned, he ended up having 14 million followers, and it was going up. Oh my God, I've heard him talk about this before, but getting something like 200,000 followers a week. Yo, man, that is. How can you even quantify how popular you are at that point? Because even when Trump was really hitting on Twitter, he kind of reached peak critical mass and just kind of plateaued there. But to just immediately go straight to the stars like that, it's such a wild phenomenon. I don't know. There's probably going to be different provisions at these different social media companies where we're never going to see a takeoff like that ever again.
I can do better. You want me to do it again?
No, I was just curious. There's so many different things. I'm trying to figure out or maybe they're all equal. What exactly? Josh, we've been doing this, a year and a half, 2 years, this podcast?
I would say it's coming up on 2 years now.
So I think on one hand, probably less, we can count guests where Josh is like, we got to get this person. You're on that short list.
Yeah.
So then, Josh, why don't you give his elevator pitch and why we needed him on?
Yeah, why do you want him on so bad?
I mean, because he says things like I fucking conquered the internet, and I think that he really does have a grasp on TikTok and on a lot of these young people coming up wanting to be hustlers and wanting to be entrepreneurs. Andrew, you have the most cult following I've seen been made so quickly. I haven't seen something like that done on TikTok ever before.
Yeah.
That's true. I certainly have a cult following.
So when did you start the internet?
I've actually been around for a while, but I put together a particular strategy about 6 months ago because I decided to step up my overall exposure because of a new product I launched. I run an online school that teaches people how to make money online. And I changed my approach towards social media, and I ended up absolutely everywhere. And now people complain that they see me more than they see their own father, and they can't get rid of me.
It's interesting because I think right there with that comment right there, I think that kind of launched all the ideas that no, he's just going viral in order. It's a multi-level marketing scheme. Hustlers University, which is what that's in reference to, had been around for a long time. That was Hustlers University 2.0 at the time. If you were watching his old interviews from 2019, 2020, 2021 during that time, he was still that dude. He was still, shilling out all of his wares, and you have every right to do that. I just think that right there, I hadn't heard that specific clip before, but I think that's probably where everybody started to sink their teeth into the whole idea that, it's just a multi-level marketing scam. It's like Cutco knives, bro.
So is that it? Is what you just said, is that the pitch, the school, which I believe Hustler University, is that what we're talking about?
Correct. That is one of the things I run. Yes, I own a school, an online school that teaches how to make money online.
All right. So then, and you can stop me anytime if you're like, nope, you've gone off the course. The concept is portray a lavish, rich, great lifestyle and then get people to pay to get that same lifestyle?
No, because that makes it sound like I am in some way faking. My lifestyle and the videos I portray are absolutely not really real completely. They existed before the school existed. I don't amp anything up. Nothing is rented. Nothing is a lie. Nothing is a joke. I'm an ultra.
Just his personality, obviously, at that point in time. But everything that he owns, well, we've seen with all of the different investigations and the fact that, everything that he had got taken from him by the Romanian authorities. If that was all rented, that would be returned back to the places. But I think the supercars that were put on the flatbeds and publicly released in press releases that they've been seized, I think that checks out.
High net worth individual, and all of that existed pre to the school. The school is just after effect to it all. It doesn't exist for the school. I'm certainly not renting cars to try and convince people to sign up to my programs.
No, but I guess what I'm saying is, and I may have connected dots that in your book shouldn't be connected. It sounded like the reason you started showing your lifestyle, real, is so people would sign up for the school because you're showing them what they want to learn how to do. No?
Yeah, to a degree. I was always showing my lifestyle. I was always doing it, but I changed the way in which I do it. That's the main reason why I have a lot of people who've known me for a very long time. I've been on the internet for a very long time, but now the way that the videos are getting out there and being spread by students of the school themselves, that's why I've got a much deeper penetration on social media. That's why people are like, where did this guy come from out of nowhere? But I've been around for a while.
Okay, I got it. But how? And 6 months ago is when you started. You've been on the internet, but have you been as flashy on the internet?
I've been flashy, bro. I've just been
the whole time. All right.
Yeah, the whole time. Like I've always been the same guy. Like I think that in the world we live in today, you need to establish credibility, and whether people like it or not, wealth is a way to establish credibility. Like there's a lot of people who dislike me, and that's fine. Yeah. But it's hard to deny that I am fiscally successful, at least, and that gives you a degree of credibility, which gives you some presence when you speak. It's hard to ignore a guy who you know has hundreds of millions of dollars.
What would you say? To be financially, like I asked
what is fuck you money? What's fuck you money?
I asked Damon John that question. What do you need in the bank to say it's fuck you money?
I think this is probably the most famous clip to come out of this. It's a very, very interesting concept, and perhaps I'll let them lay it out before, and then we can kind of dice it up afterwards.
You need a lot more than money to say fuck you money. That's the whole thing about it, right? Because fuck you money in and of itself isn't a real concept. The whole idea of fuck you money doesn't work if you're still being paid by the Matrix, if you're still stuck inside of a contract and your words are controlled. There's a lot of people with a lot of money who can't say what they think. A lot of people with a lot of money who still have to take the injection they're told to take. A lot of people with a lot of money who can't stand up and say, no, that's wrong, I don't agree with this, because they're going to lose contracts, sponsorships, etc. So to say fuck you money, I mean, you have to have enough money to not ever work again, depending on how you earn money. Because I'm completely and utterly self-sufficient, I can't be canceled. So I think my fuck you money number is actually going to be lower than others because my money will never stop. But I don't know. I mean, it's
that made no sense.
You don't think so?
No, that kind of made perfect sense, okay? Because the idea of fuck you money, right at the root of it is having enough wealth so that you don't have to listen to the whims of anybody else at all, okay? That regardless of the actions that you take, independent of anybody else, you're going to be fine. So you only engage in the ideas and you only engage in the realms that you want to engage in. Sounds perfectly logical and reasonable. I think so. If you want like a empirical number on it, if you want something tangible, okay, something to strive towards, having your money work for yourself, okay, whatever your normal expenditure. It's kind of like calorie expenditure, okay? If you're either looking to gain weight or lose weight, well, you need to have a surplus of calories or a run negative when it comes to calories. Same concept with fuck you money, okay? Because if you're just constantly pulling from one singular pool, it's eventually going to dry up. Maybe not for you, maybe for your children, maybe for your grandchildren if you're well off enough, because what was that study? The generational wealth, that just accruing so much money, it eventually dries up over 3 generations. Okay, so even with, I think outside of just, a couple of the chosen families that are out there, most you also got to, hedge for inflation as well, but so many of those families just end up running dry because of bad choices and thinking that you were that dude who made all the money to begin with, therefore, we're just down a couple $1 million, you can continue to get more from, oh right, that guy's dead. So if you don't have the skills, okay, if anything decides to go sideways, if all of your bank accounts decide to cancel you, you can still have access to money. It might not be as quickly as going to taking it out of the bank, but if you have marketable, tangible skills, then you're never going to be broke. That's at least to me. That's to me the concept of fuck you money, and I think that's also what Andrew put out there, but that's too high of a concept for Portnoy. Hey man, but this is also the guy who, what was the number that he sold Barstool for? Wasn't it 9 digits or something like that? So yeah, I guess he's a numbers guy, instead of a concepts guy.
Because by definition, fuck you money would be you can say whatever you want, and if you get fired or you have contracts, it doesn't matter because you're sitting on a pile of like.
Well, then it's a very difficult question to answer because it depends on your lifestyle, depends how you like to spend money, blah blah blah. I think
so what's your number?
Once you have 50M, then there's nothing else to buy. I mean, what are you gonna buy? Like 50M is plenty of money. You could buy a stupid boat if you really wanted one, but you could also charter one. I mean, besides that, there's literally nothing to buy with that kind of money. I think once you're above 20M, life's around the same, personally. I think that once you get above 20M, you're just doing it for sport. So I think that's around fuck you money. But if I only had 20 million, I'd still be concerned about having an income of some sorts. And if my income was dependent on me agreeing with certain paradigms that the social system, the matrix tries to propagate, then it would be different, right? So it depends. It all depends on the individual. That's why I would say fuck you money. It's around 20.
Okay, that's fair. So
Good number.
the things you're doing now, you've said, what do you put out? What is you said hundreds of millions of dollars you're worth.
Bro, I'm a humble man. You didn't
So
know
you've
that?
never said
They
your
didn't
net worth.
put,
You've
they
never
didn't
said
put
it
this
on
on the
mine.
sheet.
What?
They didn't put this on the sheet. I'm super humble.
No, that wasn't on there. It wasn't.
I'm as humble as they come. I'm just a poor guy out here in Romania, just with a whole bunch of cars. But no, I'm doing
So
all right.
what's your net worth?
Net worth is very difficult to quantify. I don't believe in what net worth quantification. I think it's all bullshit. How do you quantify net worth? Companies can be. You can have a company with an 8 times multiplier by one valuation. Another one
Liquid.
at 12
If you had to
multiplier.
go, if you had to go liquid tomorrow,
If I had to sell everything I own,
if you had to just accumulate as much money as you could tomorrow, what could
24
you do?
hours.
Yeah.
in 24 hours, if I had to get hold of as much cash as possible, so I wouldn't be able to sell into my companies that quickly. I wouldn't be able to sell any property that quickly.
I'll give you a year. I'll even give you a year to say you can sell your companies. But it's like you're getting ready to cash. It's just, all right, we're playing a game in life, and you're going to come up with some oxymoron. But
Yeah.
whoever has the most physical liquid money wins.
Yeah.
You have 1 year to accumulate it. How much you think you'd be worth?
I think it's difficult. It is difficult because I think my companies are very, very hard to evaluate. The reason I'm giving you this answer and not a very short one is because I think that my companies rely so heavily on my brand that they're very, very difficult to sell. But if I have a company that makes $5 million a month, every single month, pure profit, completely online, then that's a valuable company, right? What's that a year? What's 5 times 12? And then you can put an 8 times multiplier on that easily. So that's a $300-400 million company. But will anyone buy it if I'm not associated to the company? I don't know. It's very difficult. But 300, 350,
Okay.
easily.
So
That's fuck you money.
I mean, it's enough, but but having fuck you money is not enough. I have a fuck you. You have to have a fuck you life. You can't just have fuck you money. I'm sitting out here in Romania inside of a house with 20 armed guards outside with a tower and AR-15s, and I've got 10 passports and 55 bank accounts, and that's what you need to have fuck you money. You can't just sit in America with one.
that sounds
passport.
bad.
You
That
know,
sounds
it's
like you're like on the run.
Yeah.
No,
That
but it's
sounds
not
like
being
you're
on
in
the
the
run.
terminal
It's not about being on the run. To sit in America and have $20 million with one passport, sitting in America thinking you have fuck you money. No, you don't. You say the wrong thing, you piss the government off. They're going to come in your house. They're going to fucking take the house you own. They're going to lock you up. You ain't got fuck you money for nothing. This whole thing's the whole paradigm's a lie. The government's the big.
Well, that take kind of aged incredibly poorly because, well, very obvious reasons, but it's interesting. It's interesting, the concept of, okay, if you're not associated to something, okay, like Microsoft is still going to be worth whatever the fuck it's going to be worth at the end of the day, regardless of Bill Gates and the founders are still associated with it because the product speaks for itself, as opposed to if somebody is intrinsic to its everyday operations, then it goes up in value because I have to be able to check the numbers on that. But when Apple kicked out Steve Jobs, what its market valuation after it started to stumble a little bit, how far it went down. But then when he came back, it went back up. So that's definitely more of an interesting concept, and I think is I don't think it's delved into that deeply when it comes to this specific video, and kind of having second thoughts on this video. I don't know. Maybe I'll put a poll in the chat if you guys want to hear the Piers Morgan interview because I'm not seeing too much back and forth so far, but still early.
Biggest mafia in the world. If you can't tell them to fuck off, you can't tell anyone to fuck off. So the whole idea of fuck you money, it's all skewed anyway. Like you have to be above the law in many different ways to truly have fuck you money. You're not going to do that under one jurisdiction.
Do you
But-
think that you're able to be above the law where you live?
It's not about being above the law. It is about being above the law. But the easiest way to become above the law is to be under lots of different jurisdictions. If you have 10 different passports, it's much harder to constrain you. During COVID, Americans, English people, whatever, were all stuck in their houses because they couldn't fly.
Oh shit. Oh, for fuck's sakes. There we go. You should blame Cupcake. God damn it. Ugh. Cupcake was Yo, was she getting wild in there? Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know how long the fuck I was out. I was just looking down at the chat, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, what happened? What happened? What happened? But no. Yeah, I couldn't get Rumble to work, which is kind of a fucking pain in the ass to begin with. But yeah, no, everything's all back now. Yeah, I was just gonna say, not finding much value out of this podcast right here. Maybe there's a reason that nobody wanted to cover it to begin with, but maybe switching over to the peers here. But again, I think we're about to start to hop into the whole, much more deep concept of fuck you money. But we'll take a look here for a second. But then we'll keep it going. Yeah, I want to figure out how to get Rumble working, for Christ's sakes. Maybe I just stream exclusively over there and then just repost on YouTube. I don't fucking know. Jeez. It's an infuriating day.
Because of X rule. Well, if you have 10 passports, well, then you're not American on that day. I'd turn up to countries and they say you're not allowed because you're English. I say, okay, well, then I'm Estonian. Estonians are allowed. Okay, I'm Romanian. Romanians are allowed in. Same guy, different passport. You have to have multiple passports. You have to be on multiple grids. The idea of living off grid is complete fallacy. You can't do that. You have to be on as many grids as possible. This is what you talk about fuck you money. The people with fuck you money don't even own anything. They own a share of an entity which owns things they can borrow. They have unlimited citizenships and passports. They have money out in the metaverse, in the sky, hidden all around the world. Fuck you money isn't about having money in your bank account in your name. If you still do that, you can't say fuck you to anybody.
I would disagree on some of that. I think there could be another side that would argue the fuck you money is they have so much, but they don't have 20 armed guards, and they can do everything you just said because they're viewed not as a threat to the government, or they don't need the passports because they can travel. Like I'm guessing there's plenty of celebrities who are viewed as friendlies and don't have the setup that you have, but can still travel as freely, COVID, not COVID, whatever, which to me would be above the fuck you that you just described because you can do everything without switching it.
Yeah, that's also very strange as well, because he's conflating being prepared with paranoia, and it's just certainly not the case at all whatsoever. And especially, I said, Tate, for the fact that he's saying, if you step wrong in the United States, then you just end up getting snatched up by the government. It's not even that he stepped wrong. It was that, a couple of litigious girls decided to take matters into their own hands. Yeah. It's a distinction. It really is a distinction to be prepared when it comes to likely situations, because once you reach a certain level of fame, well, there's and this was even before he got snatched up and everything, but yeah, there's something to be said about being prepared. Okay, what do we got? Test streams. Yeah, you can dual stream. I think most people, George. Yeah, I think most people. Yeah, pulled the plug. For fuck's sakes, really? Okay, because I thought. Okay. Oh my God, this is so AIDS. Okay, let's see. Hopefully, I'm just gonna go back to the camera for a hot second. Yo, man, this is absolutely the dirt worst right now. Camera. There we go. I think, or maybe this is just being really awful. Okay. What a disaster this is. Yeah, YouTube Studio. Okay, when it comes to that, let's see. For whatever reason. Okay. We're over here. Streams temporarily belong to detected copyright and audio. Yeah, that's fantastic. I haven't been live for 2 hours. Fuck off. Oh my God.
Well, good evening, London. Well,
Okay. There we go. I'm making the executive decision because obviously, maybe I think I figured out why nobody was reacting to that video, or maybe they were just reacting to clips because I guess they copyright all their stuff. Like, that's just big fucking gay to begin with. Okay, I'm continue to just stop right in the middle of everybody's sentences and go, aha, very interesting. But who the fuck cares? Christ on ice. Okay, so I'm just gonna go with this one because I think that it's maybe a little bit more interesting, but then we can speed it up as well. Just a 2.5, okay? Yeah, because this one's only 45 minutes long, and then they play speed chess for like the last 5, and he just absolutely smokes them. For full disclosure, I have watched this interview, and it's I think that this one's Tate probably at his best because he's more measured than he was in the first video, and I broke down the first video. Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah. No, he was incredibly good. He was incredibly good on the first one, okay, for deflecting when it came to all of Piers Morgan's nonsense. But then in the second one, Tate knew exactly the opponent that he was looking across the table at this time. And he showed extreme and specific frame control that I think that you very rarely see when it comes to adversarial interviews. And I think by the end, kind of made Piers a fan. So I'm going to speed up because I don't know if we got that, do we have this stupid little introduction? Not entirely sure, but if we do, well.
Uncensored. Have you ever heard of Mr. Beast? What about PewDiePie?
No.
How about Keemstar, Logan Paul, Jake Paul? The answer might well be no. You haven't heard of them. But if you've got kids, you will definitely have heard of them. And they most certainly have. They're just a tiny handful of the legions of digital personalities whose videos are viewed by literally billions of young people across the world.
Yeah,
17 million times across all platforms, which is staggering for someone who perhaps you're watching and thinking, who is Andrew Tate? It was a robust exchange. And Andrew Tate was here because he'd effectively been kicked off the mainstream internet for supposed misogyny.
I'm a nice guy,
His
George.
tirades against women were viewed literally billions of times. Well, the first time around, I wanted to find out if he deserved to be banned and if he'd ever actually crossed a line from shocking opinions to genuine hate speech, or if he just didn't fit the ideal model of the platforms that censored him. Let's go through some.
Sure.
Right? Do you think women are the property of men?
No. The point I was making...
Why have you said they are?
Because I made a religious point.
Authority implies that you have the ability to control someone.
No, authority believes... authority implies I have the moral right to sit and say that that's an irresponsible thing to do.
Just making sure
that's
that
not what
everything
authority
is
I don't interrupt
fine.
you. I just want to point out that's not what authority means.
If someone gives... a person can give...
Voluntary authority is not authority.
Okay, good.
No, but that's the point.
It's not.
Piers.
Andrew, it's not.
And this is the thing that's interesting, Piers. Please let me finish.
You're behaving like a politician. But hang on. You can say I'm interrupting.
You do.
But you're answering a different question to the one I...
Yeah, see, this time around, did you guys watch the first interview where it was just constantly Andrew's trying to get into a point and it's like, no, you hate women. Oh, that's not correct at all. And then Andrew would just have to, reiterate his point over and over and over again. This time around, though, he nips it straight in the bud, and it's excellent frame control, and it's something that I think everybody can learn from.
I asked you.
Fine.
No. You're weaponizing the weaponizing. This doesn't exist.
No problem. If someone comes to me and says I'm clinically depressed or I feel very, very sad, I would say the first thing you need to do is stop accepting the identity of a clinically depressed person. Stop accepting you have no control over this.
Andrew, you're simply wrong.
If that's what you believe, Piers.
That's what I believe.
I don't believe in things that take power away.
There is not an eminent doctor in the world
Piers,
that would agree with you.
Piers,
Do you think you know more than doctors?
I can't become clinically depressed.
Why do you know?
Because I don't believe in it.
It's a lively stuff. I also wasn't sure if I should be interviewing him at all. If he was so unpleasant, as so many people said, well, why extend his profile and give him a platform? But the fact is that ship had already sailed. Every teenager in the country knows Andrew Tate. It's just a lot of the parents who don't. And since that interview, Andrew has been returned to Twitter. His new owner, Elon Musk, is determined to protect free speech online. Yeah. Many young people, especially boys, have literally stopped me on the street since that first interview to ask me about Andrew Tate. I've been staggered, honestly, by the response that I've had.
That's why I continue to bring him up every single time that I'm ever on an interview, because, of course, he made me relevant again. I won't hold that against Andrew, but,
What does it say about society that people like Andrew Tate can reach so many more people than conventional stars or journalists even? Who gets to decide where the line is and whether people like Andrew Tate cross it? Are they part of a poorly understood movement that panders to teenage rebellion like punk rock or pornography? Or are we exposing young people to new and damaging experiences we often don't see and don't understand? It's a whole new world. There are more questions about it than answers, and we're not going to answer them by pretending it doesn't exist. Well, Andrew Tate joins me again now. Andrew, good to see you.
Salam alaikum, Piers.
Good to see you. I've genuinely been amazed by the reaction I've had in the streets. Not just here, but I went to Qatar for the World Cup, had the same thing there. A lot of people coming up about Cristiano Ronaldo, obviously, but also a lot of people coming up about you. And they were almost exclusively men, young men, who genuinely see you as a role model, as somebody who inspires them, as somebody they want to be like.
Yep.
So that made me think, the first interview you had was quite combative, the second time, a short interview less so. I want to try and work out in this one who you are, because it struck me as extraordinary that Google this week revealed some stats for the year. The number one person whose name followed people Google searching who is in
Piers Morgan. Why is he relevant? Why is he such a cuck?
2022 was Andrew Tate.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's quite
so
remarkable.
close.
I think there's a whole swath of the population, especially young men, that feel disenfranchised. They feel disenfranchised with the media machine and the things they're supposed to believe. They don't feel an affinity with the educational systems or the culture. And they look at a person like me who stands up and says the things that many young men think. I haven't put a magic spell on the world. The fact that people like what I say means that they agree with me deep inside. They may be afraid to say it themselves, but I am seen as a bastion of free speech and a bastion for masculinity as a whole, because a lot of men are largely forgotten about.
Do you think you're a force for good, or are you a force in evolution where perhaps you've done and said stuff you shouldn't have done, and as you get older, perhaps as you get bigger, more?
Oh, hey, shout out, Ed. I wanted to break down. I just seen this. Yo, thanks, man. I really, really, really do appreciate it. And especially, oh, man, it's all fantastic. But I also noticed, George, he's read about the depression thing. Something that I've, talked about quite a bit as well, on, everywhere that, whenever it's relevant. Feeling depressed is totally legit and it's totally real, and it goes through everybody. It's just how you internalize it. There was a study. Did we talk about? I talked about that on the main channel here. 83% of the time, antidepressants show absolutely no difference between a placebo when it comes to being effective. So if the treatment's not even working, okay, and that most people who overcome their depression, you just listen to their stories as opposed to listening to what the pill pushers, what they have to say about that. How did they overcome their depression? By taking any of their inadequacies into their own hands and making a better situation of their life. What is making you depressed? Well, I can't go to the gym. I feel depressed. No. You feel depressed because you're not going to the gym. That's the problem. You flip the mental framing when it comes to that stuff, and then all of a sudden, your world will get better 100%. And if you don't believe it, well, just give it a shot. It tends to work. So, do I think that Tate's a good force for the good in the world? Well, why would I be doing a stream, and why would I be jumping through all these hoops in order to make something work?
Or followed around the world, you sense a responsibility perhaps you didn't have early on?
Well, we all evolve. Every human evolves day by day. You wouldn't be human if you didn't evolve on an hour-by-hour basis. But I do not think I'm a force for good. I absolutely not really know I'm a force for good because I'm a force for truth. And truth is a good thing. Without truth, we're going to end up in absolute tyranny and slavery, and we're already on our way there. I feel like we're starting to combat it. My cancellation was the beginning of a change in public consciousness. Elon having Twitter is another beginning of a change in public consciousness. And anybody who stands up and speaks what they truly believe, even if it's something I don't personally agree with, I think that truth is absolutely important. And people's personal truths and people's personal opinions, even on differing sides of the same opinion, should be heard.
Tell me about your life. You were born to a mixed race couple. Your father was an African-American, a chess player. And your mother, she was from this country.
Correct, yeah. So my father was black chess player. He was in the Air Force. He met my mother here in England. And then I was raised initially in the United States. And then I moved to Luton, England when I was younger. So I've moved around a lot. I've lived an eclectic life in many different scenarios. We've moved around. I've done a lot of different things, lived a lot of different experiences.
As adorable.
And,
What nationality are you? I mean, what do you identify as?
I consider myself British now, but I will say that part of me, the patriotic Brit inside of me, is devastated by the state of the UK currently, and I want to make that very clear. The patriotic Brit in me truly loves this country, and seeing what's happening to it, especially to our major cities, is almost heartbreaking to watch in real time.
In what way?
It's falling apart. This is a failed society. By every metric you can possibly measure, it is absolutely and utterly failing. The cost of living crisis, the crime rates, everything is falling apart. If you compare it to a country like the United Arab Emirates, you compare it to a city like Dubai, London, which should be the greatest city on earth, is failing in absolutely every metric because our leadership is a joke. If you look at Dubai and the UAE, the leadership there is so flawless, so genuinely genius. They saw ahead and built almost a utopia. And then you look at London, you can't even walk around with a watch on. It's disgusting.
You know, it's very interesting. I was in...
Knife crime, violent crime, I don't know how much stock you want to put in the feel of the situation when it comes to certain people when they're there. Everything just seems off. Like, I can talk about it up here in, northern Alberta and my neck of the woods in Grand Prairie. it's different. I still see people. I saw somebody not that long ago still wearing a mask in a grocery store, if you can actually fucking believe that. I'm sure they probably happen in your guys' neck of the woods as well. Hey man, when you're sold a lie for so long, it just becomes more comfortable than realizing that maybe I've been wrong the entire time. Perhaps that's what they... A comforting lie beats an uncomfortable truth 9 out of 9.
In Qatar for the World Cup, obviously a lot of people in England taking a very censorious moral view about the World Cup being in the Middle East at all because of their laws against homosexuality, because of their treatment of migrant workers. I've got to say, not that I don't share the concerns about those things, of course I do, but I found a lot of the virtue signaling, and I think that's what it was in many cases, about the whole region actually quite distasteful. Because when I was in Qatar, I thought the World Cup was fantastically well run, incredibly good experience. But a lot of Qataris were saying to me, you know, there's this weird, quaint feeling back in your country that we all want to aspire to behave like that we all want to live in a country with massive drug problems, with massive knife crime issues, with scenes like the European Championships final where it's complete lawlessness going on, where stuff like the NHS, the system of healthcare, is basically collapsing, where the education system is dropping behind, so on and so on and so on. And it's a really interesting perspective. They were like, I know you all think that we want to have your form of democracy and your form of life, but actually we're fine, thanks.
Absolutely, because it's a...
No, it's a very interesting concept, and especially to see all the news that's going around, especially when there's, you know, the little blue liberal cities, all of the big cities that are out there, and then, yeah, just to see the desolation of those, and then they're also trying to pillage the rural areas in order to try to continue to fund their failed policies. California is a perfect example of that. Oh yeah, we're just going to go ahead and give out... I forget what the recent fucking proposal when it comes to reparations in San Francisco. What a fucking travesty that is. Oh yeah, a state that never ever had slavery to begin with. All of a sudden, oh yeah, we're just gonna be the good white people that are out. Just fucking stop it, for Christ's sake. Stop virtue signaling, especially when it's gonna be on the taxpayer dime. And what's the major export of California at this point in time? Californians. Great, wonderful, fantastic, but. Taking a look at Middle Eastern countries, especially as developed as places like Dubai and then Qatar, maybe it's just given the fact that they've been put on a major stage. Like, we've been told about the atrocities and the horror of Qatar in erecting the outdoor World Cup stadium. It's just the worst place on earth. You've got all this human trafficking. You've got all of this human slavery that's out there just wide in the open. It's a functioning society, and people kind of appreciate it at a certain point. And is there actually, any of those crimes that are going on? It's kind of it's definitely debatable. And is it preferential? Well, of course not, and you wouldn't want to find yourself in that situation. But if you take a look at the degeneracy, the open degeneracy, in the way that it's advertised in the West, as opposed to a much more structured society in the Middle East, you start to have people that are more sympathetic, that are willing to just overlook maybe some of the human rights abuses, especially in the way that human rights have been pedestalized pretty much and conflated with a whole bunch of not even needs, but just a whole bunch of wants of the laziest people. It looks appealing from afar. It just requires maybe more on-the-ground research.
Failed society, and it's godless. I think it's disgusting. We leave our old people to rot in old people's homes, and then we sit there and say we don't have enough money for nurses. I understand this nurse strike very well and how frustrating it can be if you walk into a hospital and the nurse is not prepared to work. But the nurses would be prepared to work at the current wage if they believe this country was spending its money prudently. When you see this country spending its money and just absolutely wasting it, pulling out of thin air to fund proxy wars, God knows where that's nothing to do with them. Of course, as a nurse, you're going to stand up and say, well, can't I get a pay rise? This country has failed on every metric. And especially our major cities. I've just come to London now. I made it very clear to my private jet pilot. I said, fuel the jet and leave it running. The second I'm finished talking to peers, I'm leaving this session. It's disgusting. This country, and London as a whole, 10 years ago, was one of the most hospitable cities on earth. Now you cannot walk around safely with a watch on. And you're a full-grown man. You're a full-grown adult. When's the last time there's been a serious problem in your life that you completely ignored and it fixed itself? Never, ever. What are any of our politicians doing to fix any of the problems we're
Well, I saw
facing?
today that Sadiq Khan is planning to run again for the third term of office as mayor. All I can say is everyone I know who's had any experience of crime at any level in London in the last few years has had a bad experience of the way it's been handled. I can give an example. I can reveal this now. I've talked for 18 months. I got a specific death threat on one of my son's Instagram pages in public, a public comment. And it was very specific about what this person was going to do. I couldn't use the police to evade him. We know where you live. We're going to come and kill you. And then a second one threatening my son and his mother, my ex-wife. I called in the police. I thought, I'm not having them putting death threats on my son. Sure. I called the police. Police investigated this. They arrested somebody over a year ago. And then I heard from the police this week that despite 18 months of investigation, of a publicly posted comment on Instagram threatening to kill me on my son's Instagram, that they will not be able to pursue the case. Now, I thought, imagine, I'm high profile. This was the front page of the Sun newspaper. This
if
story.
that same man called a transgender person the wrong pronouns, he would be in trouble.
Right.
So doesn't it just show how absolutely asinine and banal our legal system has become? That would never happen in a country like United Arab Emirates, the place I'm now residing in Dubai, where the leadership has common sense. And I'm saying that all the leadership structures, doesn't matter if it's labor or conservative, across all of it in this nation have completely and utterly failed. Sadiq Khan is a loser. Because when you have a city which is losing, which London is losing in all metrics across its competitive cities around the world, and you're in charge of it, by extension, you're a loser. I will tell you right now, instead of virtue signaling and giving Qatar a hard time over their religious beliefs, what we should be doing is a treaty with Qatar to build a prison deep in the desert. Make me mayor of London. We'll make a prison deep in the desert, and if you're caught with a knife or robbing someone, you can go do 25 years with one meal a day in the scorching sun. And then what we'll do is we'll put cameras there and we'll interview you once a week and broadcast that out to the nation and see if you change your mind and make people understand that this is a country that should be respected and our laws should be respected. Instead, what happens? What has Sadiq or any of the people in charge of this country actually done to fix any of our issues besides sit around and talk? Nothing. None of them have done anything, but they seem ultra concerned with finding money for proxy wars, ultra concerned with rainbow flags in another country that is uninterested in them, and their priorities are completely messed up. Of course the ambulance people are. Of course the ambulance drivers are striking. Of course the nurses are striking. Nobody cares about the most important things in this nation. It's a failing country in real time, and that's why I've left.
What about the...
Okay, nothing wrong with that statement at all whatsoever, and it's incredibly fucking based, especially in my opinion. And when it comes to prison, there was some, I forget exactly when the shift is, and maybe there's a much more learned individual when it comes to dealing with people inside of the correctional facilities, okay? When the shift from rehabilitation occurred away from an actual punishment, here's my perspective on crime. You guys probably can glean this in some form or fashion, but when it comes to violent provable crime, like if anybody's out there committing assaults, some of the most horrific stuff that you can possibly think of, I need not name it because the stream's already been taken down, twice for fucking copyright shit. So at this point in time, what the fuck else can they do for me? Okay, and rapists, don't even bother with a fucking cot, okay? Just send them out into the world, okay? Into the deepest, darkest parts of the desert, okay? Just had to parse my words there for a second because it's like, oh, you're live. Okay, you can't exactly say what you want to, but don't even worry with the space when it comes to the most horrific criminals that are out there. But when it comes to victimless crime, it's interesting because the only argument that I would have is like just kind of a moralistic stance on it. And again, that's nothing that I would legislate on, okay? Crime and violent crime, the only way that you can cure somebody from doing that is as punishment. Use it as a deterrent. An ounce of deterrent is better than a pound of cure. So if you say to somebody, okay, you're going to beat that guy up, well, you're going to be on the asphalt crew in the middle of the desert from here until eternity. You want to rethink that for a moment. Oh, you want to break into that guy's house? That is fantastic. San Quentin needs a new roof, and guess who just signed up for that duty? We don't even need to get any deeper in the weeds when it comes to the rest of the punishments, but when it comes to that stuff, man, deterrent, high-level deterrence, but yeah, when it comes to victimless stuff, like, while I'd never advocated it at all whatsoever, buying box, we should really look at turning the other cheek on that stuff. So it's interesting. It's interesting. I know that there's interesting lines to cross. It's definitely a conversation I want to have when things aren't going completely to shit right now, because I'm boiling with rage at how terrible this live stream is going.
Specific allegation. By the way, I don't disagree with a lot of that because I do think this country is in big trouble. And I do think that one of the problems is people think if they do have a crime against them, nobody cares anymore.
I know nobody cares. I have specific examples and people who I know personally. Absolutely and utterly nobody cares. I was in Harrods yesterday and someone tried to rob someone's watch in the middle of the store. I walk around with I have a security team of 6 full-grown men, plus me and my brother, 8 military-age males, all over 110 kilos, big men, just so I can walk around this city. It's absolutely unacceptable.
What about the issue of race? And I mentioned that in the context of the Harry and Meghan ongoing debate, their war with the royal family, war against the monarchy, their specific constant.
The one that Piers got all stuffy on and walked out of his job on Good Morning Britain or something like that when he was called to the carpet for it, for the side that he was trying to placate in the first interview that he had with Andrew. Oh, okay, right, that. It's funny. It's funny whenever I listen to a Tate interview or a Tate podcast or anybody else in that sphere as well. The whole topic of race, it just never comes up. Like, that's just such a low-level issue. It's really funny and superfluous, and maybe that's why I like this type of content so much, like the Tate, the Fresh and Fit type of stuff. It's just self-improvement more than anything else. They don't really get bogged down in all of this low-level divisive shit. It's become the best version of yourself, and then you can have the best experiences in life. That's my opinion.
Referencing to the fact that they believe they were driven out of here because of racism in Britain. What do you make of that debate?
That's absolute fallacy.
You're from a mixed race
Correct.
background yourself.
Correct. I'm from a mixed race background myself, and while we're discussing the leaders of the UK, although I do think they're doing a terrible job, it's kind of hard for Meghan to say that the UK is a racist country when the leader of the UK is darker skinned than her, and the mayor of London is darker skinned than her, and I am a person who's probably darker skinned than her, and I've never experienced any kind of bigotry against myself, besides the fact I'm a straight male. I'll get bigotry for that before I'll get bigotry for my skin color. I think it's just a cop-out, and her not wanting to be perspicacious and self-reflective enough to understand that she has attacked an age-old institution, and there are people who are very patriotic about that institution, and by attacking it and bringing a degree of distaste to it, there's going to be people who don't like her. And if you're a dislikable person, you can't just instantly stand up and say it's because of my skin color. It might be because of your actions and some of the things you've said.
I mean, I think it's probably
Oh, it's very interesting, okay, because there was recently a South Park clip. I don't know. Might pull it up. Okay, if we're talking about a company that's really bad when it comes to copyright, it's like South Park is, I guess it would be Comedy Central. They're right up there when it comes to that stuff. But recently they had probably one of the most hack impressions of Tate that I've heard in a very, very, very long time. It really seemed to miss the mark. It's like somebody told them about Tate, but didn't really get into any of the specifics. It was just really off. And then Tate ended up quote tweeting it. Maybe I can find it real quick. Okay. On here. I just want to see his quote tweet when it comes to this, because I find it to be incredibly interesting. Or maybe it was just in the maybe it was his response or whoever was out there as well. Maybe it was from a while ago. Come on, where the fuck is it? Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I was just more interested. Stop it. Okay, so, yeah, when I will be proven innocent, I look forward to help create the greatest South Park episode of all time. Like I said, man, it was kind of a hack impression where, okay, again, it's all out of context. The only thing that they got accurate probably was the caricature. Okay, like, that was pretty spot on. But outside of that, it wasn't that great. It wasn't that flattering. But then at the same time, it was just so borked. Nothing really mattered. Compare and contrast that to the way that Meghan Markle responded, or her team responded to that, and her, cuck chauffeur Harry responded to that. You have such a dichotomy of individuals. Okay, they're both definitely at this point in time equally as famous, and the quality of people between the two, it's staggering just in that response alone. That's why I appreciate it.
No doubt she's had racism on social media because it's...
Who hasn't, Piers?
It's assessed.
You probably have.
Well, as I said just now, I've had death threats on social media, and no one seemed to care very much.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably inarguable. My issue with what they've both been doing is if you're going to make allegations against an institution like the royal family and the monarchy, you've got to actually provide some evidence.
Like
you can't just spray gun this thing out there and say, well, somebody was racist.
Yeah, and airing dirty laundry is never going to be respected by the populace, and being a tattletale is never going to be respected by the populace. And I think the problem with the modern world we're living in is a lot of age-old traditions are being destroyed in real time. It doesn't matter what the tradition is. Most of them are being eroded. And something like the British royal family, which has been around for a very long time, is an age-old tradition. One of the things holding the UK together, one of the last things we have, to sit and detriment it and to sit and insult it and to give away secrets from inside of it and try and paint a negative image of it is going to upset a lot of people. And you have to be prepared for that backlash. You can't say, I've done things that upset people, but it's nothing to do with what I've done. It's purely because of my skin color. Also, it's kind of ironic that she's doing that because she's not particularly dark-skinned. It's kind of funny to watch her sit and say,
I think the truth is, I don't know what... Look, you can say that. I can't.
Yo, in the summer, I get way darker than that, for Christ's sakes. Holy.
The reality of it is, I just don't know what the specifics of the racism she says she's had because we've not seen any evidence.
The universe is a funny place, Piers. If you're looking for something, you're going to find it, right? When I got cancer...
Oh, you want to hear a funny racism story? I've actually been a victim of racism, if you can believe it at all whatsoever. Back when I used to work at, I was, manager at a warehouse. It was at a local clothing store. It was hilarious. There was I worked with 30 women at the time. It was a very eye-opening experience. But we were all going out for a party. It was myself and a handful of girls, whatever like that. But there was a couple of African black girls that were there as well. And very nice girls and everything, and I went to go pick them up, and the first girl came out, and I, at the time, what was I driving? I had my pickup, right? Yeah, I had my pickup, and she decides to hop in the back. It's like, oh, okay, I didn't think anything of it. Her sister or cousin, I forget the familial connection, but she comes out of the apartments as well, and uncle's there as well. Like, he's outside having a smoke. You can't smoke inside of the apartment buildings, obviously. It's Canada after all. She comes in, and she sits in the back seat as well, and it's like, that's very, very interesting. What are you guys doing as well? And then when I go to turn and whatever, they duck down in the seats. Like, the fuck is going on here? No, I didn't hear until the next day, and it's like, yeah, we got in a bunch of big trouble. So next time that you come to pick us up to go party, you're just gonna have to do that around the corner. The fuck? Why? Oh yeah, my uncle was out there. Yeah, okay. I waved to him. Everything seemed fine. No. He said that you look like one of those crazy guys. You look like one of those crazy crackers that would cut us up. It's like, oh, okay, cool. So it's like, I had to ruminate on that for a second. It's like, that's very interesting. I was still friends with the girls afterwards, and they were like, yeah, no, this is kind of weird, but you moved to northern Alberta, and you can't rock with a guy who's a quarter native. Shit's totally fucked up.
Canceled when they attacked me unfairly, lied about me across the entire mainstream media, deleted me from social media so I couldn't defend myself, and lied about me repeatedly. I could have stood up and said, it's because I'm brown. I didn't do that. I sat and said, okay, there's people who misunderstand my message. My message is a positive one. People misunderstand me. Let me self-reflect and understand that, yes, perhaps this said a long time ago was said in the wrong way. Perhaps this was misunderstood. Perhaps people don't understand this. I could have just copped out and could have just been refusing to self-reflect on any level and said, it's because I'm brown, that's why they did it. But that's not the mature way to be as an adult.
What did you think of the Jeremy Clarkson furore, where he wrote what I think most people, but including him belatedly after he'd published it and written the column, he did make an analogy from a Game of Thrones scene, which most people, I think, did find crossed the line and was deeply offensive. I think it crossed the line. What do you think?
Yeah, I understand why people feel that. But when you attack an institution as old as the British royal family, you're attacking patriotism in and of itself for one of the most respected countries, or previously most respected countries on earth, and you're going to have some visceral reactions. Perhaps Jeremy Clarkson is too famous and too well-renowned to say those kind of things, but there's a lot of people who genuinely feel that way, and that's why he said it. And this is what happens when you attack age-old institutions.
Yeah, that was he was making an analogy to Meghan Markle being shame-walked in front of everybody else to Cersei Lannister's walk of shame in, what was that, season finale of season 5. I just recently watched Game of Thrones for the first time, and this might be a spicy take, the most overrated show I've personally ever seen. Only half of the series is good, and seasons 2 and 3, it's interesting. First 2 seasons, I kind of like a lot. First season's a masterpiece. The second season's real good as well. Third season is pretty good, but the fourth season, very, very, very hit or miss, and then the rest of it's just fucking ass.
Any country.
Should he have apologized?
That's a good question. It looks like he did. Personally, I think as a man, you should stand up, say what you mean what you say. I don't think you should ever apologize for anything you've ever said. Even me.
What if you say something truly very offensive and you actually do regret it?
If you truly regret it, then yeah, okay, you can apologize. But if at the time you meant it, then the best thing you can do is say, look, I have just changed my mind. I no longer feel that way, but at the time that's how I felt, and I'm the person who says what he feels, and that's what I felt at the time, and I apologize that offended you.
Andrew Tate, we'll be back with you after the break. We'll talk to you about Twitter again.
That's fantastic.
That you're only one account is taking over Twitter with a small commitment to free speech. It's also shown he has a line of his own, though. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones remains banned. Kanye West was reinstated, then banned again for posting a swastika inside the Star of David. Andrew Tate is back too for now. Anyway, he was first removed in 2017 for saying women should bear some responsibility as victims of rape, and he hasn't exactly been shy since his reprieve. Let's take a look.
Oh my God.
Genghis Khan had endless women and 200 children as a reward for conquest. He tweeted, I'm the most searched man on the planet. I've conquered Earth. I'm the highest status male on the planet. Females do not expect loyalty from me. They only expect that of lesser men. Then there was this. Imagine having less than 10 children because you're a who
pussy.
have 4 wives, genetic failures. Finally, if a girl follows me and she's hot and I see a single picture of her in a private jet, it's block. Women can't afford jets. Women are all brokies. Why are you flying around on some man's jet? You should have been a virgin when I met you. Haram. All right, Andrew Tate.
Okay. In case Pierce doesn't understand, might be a touch of hyperbole thrown on top of that. Just saying.
You're getting very near the knuckle with some of those tweets.
Am I?
You tell me.
I don't think so. I think people can understand they're semi-satirical. I think people can
Do
understand.
you mean them as jokes or do you mean them?
No, I don't mean them as jokes. I mean, they're a
Shit's
overall
funny.
public commentary and observation. I do mean what I say. If I were to see a girl on a private plane on Instagram, for example, I would assume that a man put her on that private plane. I would not assume she bought it herself.
What if it was
Perhaps that makes me misogynistic.
What if it was Ariana Grande or Beyonce?
Well, that's slightly different, isn't it?
Why?
Yeah.
Because they're famous and very
They're
rich.
women?
Yeah, of course, and they're famous and very rich. But
So
if
there are lots of women you wouldn't think that if you actually saw.
The exception does not disprove the rule.
If I saw a 19-year-old girl from Moldova where the average wage is $200 a month and she was on a private jet, I would assume that
Oh,
the balance of
hell yeah,
probabilities,
Roger.
considering I'm an
Hell
adult,
yeah.
is very likely because of her beauty, a man has put her on that private plane. Yes. If that makes me misogynistic instead of just perspicacious enough to understand how the world works, so be it. I'm a realist.
Should you be such a generalist about these things?
Well, you have to be a generalist when you're looking for in the balance of probabilities and trying to find balance in the world. You have to be a generalist. In general, if I stroke a lion, it's going to bite my hand. In general, there might be a nice one, but I don't want to find out. So that's how the world works.
You've praised the Taliban in the past. Would you do so again tonight?
The world is not black and white. The world is gray. It's very
This
difficult to sit
is-
and make
okay.
black and white assumptions about anything. To sit and say that the Taliban are completely and utterly evil and we're completely and utterly good, as you just discussed with the moral high ground. I believe that the Taliban bring law and order. It may not be the law and order we like, but it's a form of law and order, and humans usually gravitate
What about their
towards...
treatment of women? I mean, only tonight.
This is where, okay, this is definitely the clip that made the rounds, and I know that Piers ran it back a few different times. This is where I think that he is absolutely, Andrew, this is at his absolute best, because he already laid out earlier, it's like, okay, the rest of the Western world is looking at places like Dubai, Qatar, other Saudi Arabia, other developed Middle Eastern cultures, and seeing that there's structure there, that there's order there, that there's rules, and that there's laws there, and that it's something to aspire to in some form or fashion. And then, okay, so taking a look at it from a Western perspective, okay, yeah, the Taliban might be a bit extreme, but as quickly as they just waltzed into those open doors that Biden left in his wake, that's clearly what the people want, man. But Andrew doesn't capitulate to Piers one single bit, and this is expert frame control.
Only tonight they have banned any women from going to university.
Fantastic. Let's get the feminists to go and teach them a lesson. The feminists are so tough, and they stand up and say they can do anything a man can do. Let's arm them up and send them to Afghanistan. I'm sure they'll fix it.
No, but it's not. It's a serious matter, isn't it? The women don't get the education they
and
deserve.
that's a very serious answer. If women are just as capable as men in terms of combat, like feminists pretend they are, then they can go over there and they can deal with it.
A lot of women do go
we
to
go.
combat.
Exactly. So
On the front lines, having to how many, oh my god, I think somebody pointed out like one exception when it comes to Ranger School or Green Beret, something like that. Only like a handful of women in the entirety of history have ever passed at the at the male standard of getting to those high ranks within the military. It's women in combat roles. There's so many different psychological studies that shows that they become favored by a vast majority of the platoon because it's a brotherhood. It's you want to see everybody succeed, no man left behind for a reason. And there's just it's because it's just intrinsic in men. You got this biological imperative to protect the females. So, yeah, you're just naturally going to gravitate over there, and then it just ends up dragging down the performance of the team. Okay, all-female squadron, we'd have to see that in action in order to have a comparable to draw upon. But in specific, with using generalities, it's probably not the best thing to do.
they can go deal with the Taliban. It's nothing to do with me. They can stand up and fight for their own rights.
Surely you wouldn't defend the Taliban banning women from university.
It's saying it's nothing to do with me, Pierce. It's absolutely nothing to do
What
with
about the
me.
Afghan women?
It's nothing to do with me on any level.
You don't have a view?
I have a view. My
Yeah,
view
you
is
guys
that
are
people naturally
1000%,
gravitate towards
right?
law and order. And if you didn't have the Taliban, you'd have different warlords operating in lawlessness. And there would be no way to prevent your store or your market stall getting completely robbed by someone with an AK-47. And people are going to gravitate towards a form of law and order. America left. They left a power vacuum, and the power vacuum is now full.
Well, I don't disagree with that.
Okay, well,
but
there we go.
I do think the banning of women from university in Afghanistan is utterly horrific.
And I think the feminists feminists are going to arm themselves. They're going to show us that they can do anything a man can do. They're going to go over there to combat, and they're going to teach Taliban a lesson.
Why can't you just say on that, you know what, it's completely wrong?
Because it's not my point. I don't understand.
But it makes me think.
There we go.
Critics think that you don't think it's wrong.
They could ban all men. They could ban all short
But they're
people.
not. They're only banning women.
Correct. They could ban all short people. They could ban all people with long hair.
And
none of it's anything to do with me. So they can do whatever they want. I'm not going to go to war with the Taliban.
But you've just literally spent an impassioned first segment comparing the way, for example, Dubai handles law and order to this country.
Correct.
So you do express views about different laws.
When it directly affects him. He has business holdings in the UK. I think he has business holdings in Dubai, of course, obviously. What's going on in Afghanistan? I think he says that he's been there before once or twice, but in the grand scheme of things, if that's what the people want, if that's what the government's putting in place, hey man, it fucking sucks to suck. It's like, I don't agree with anything that goes on in Ottawa at all whatsoever, especially that poodle-headed, black-faced asshole, okay? Whatever he does intrinsically, I look at it and it's like, can you become any more disappointing for Canadians at large? But you're just ultimately going to end up getting propped up at the NDP because, well, they just love running as a tyranny of the minority. So it's interesting. It's interesting. What the government wants for the people, well, that's just what you have there. Is it, oh God, putting women in college? Well, we take a look at what happens when they ran a little too rampant in the West, and, well, results speak for themselves.
Absolutely. Both places.
So when I put to you a law that basically bans women from being educated, it's not. Why is it a problem for you to say, you know what, it's wrong?
They're both places I've resided in, Dubai and London, so I have personal experience. I can give my personal opinion, but like I said, it has absolutely nothing to do with me what the Taliban decide to do inside of Afghanistan. And if they decide that's the most prudent way to run their society, then we have two choices. We can either go over there and start another war that we shouldn't be involved in and waste a bunch of life, or we can sit and say, it's up to them, they should govern themselves, they're people, we're no better than them, and they've decided to live their lives a particular way, and that's how they're going to live it. Like I said, if feminists are very upset and they're very disgusted by the fact that in Afghanistan, women cannot go to school, I've been told repeatedly by feminists that they're just as capable as men in all realms, and I expect them to arm themselves and fly over to Afghanistan and fix it.
Like a lot of women have done in combat.
Good. Congratulations. Go fight. Well, this is the thing that's very interesting. Because when you talk about ideas, it's not even just about Afghanistan and feminism. You talk about ideas, they must all be defended at some point. There has to come down to violence. The world is backed by violence. Nobody wants to talk about this. It doesn't matter what it is. If you have a disagreement between two parties, eventually if the disagreement continues, it ends up in violence. Feminism is defended by men. Men stand up and defend feminism, not feminists themselves, because they're incapable of violence. And we're in a situation now where you're saying that we should send men to go and fight for feminism. Why? It's not a man's problem.
No, I think I'm saying.
I
think men can be feminists too, because if feminism believes in equality for women,
it's not
I'll sign
about
up to it.
equality.
I don't agree with radical feminists who hate men. Right? To me, the radical anything to me is a bad thing.
Yeah, and I think most feminism in the West currently is radical.
Well, some of it is. No question.
Uganda, you know the way. This is why the reacting to a Tate video, especially for me, if it's not just like hot off the presses. I think the next one that I'll probably react to whenever it does come around is the new emergency meeting. I think that could be fun. I just agree with everything that he says, and there's nothing really to add on top of it. Like, okay, dissecting and breaking down the final message, how funny that looks in retrospect. Like, there was so much more context to add on top of that, but when he's just going to back up everything that I want to say on top of that, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Why won't you just capitulate and just say that there should be that women should be allowed to go to university in Afghanistan? Okay. Nothing to do with anybody, okay? That is the feminist talking point, okay? Feminist talking point that women should have equal access to everything. Is it a human talking point? It's another topic for another time, but it is intrinsic and it's central to the tenets of feminism. So if they feel so strongly about that, well, arm yourself up and then just go see how strongly the Taliban feel about that. So, hey man, tit for tat. Just because you think something sounds good and it makes me feel good and it empowers women, well, it might look good on paper, but in practice, it doesn't work at all whatsoever.
Question.
Absolutely, but this is my point. My point is that the Taliban are going to do whatever the Taliban decide to do. If I'm going to fly over to another country, I will respect their laws and customs. It's not my job to come along and tell other people how to live. I don't believe I have a moral high ground in that degree. And if people are genuinely upset and disgusted by it, the bottom line in most disagreements on the earth is violence. People who feel like they should go and fix it, then fix it with violence, then it can be the feminists who feel so outraged by it. But it's funny, they don't comment on these subjects, feminists. They seem to instead attack the Western male for some reason.
You deleted a video in which you praised ISIS.
Right.
Why?
I don't know which video you're talking about in particular. It might have been a video from a long time ago. But in general, I understand that, like I said, the world is not black and white. The world is gray areas, and Western imperialism as a whole has been causing more problems than it's ever fixed, and it's disgusting. And I don't know the exact video you're referencing, but sometimes when an underdog destroys a Western imperialist, I have a degree of, I wouldn't say satisfaction, but
Satisfaction?
No, but there's certainly a degree of
The way ISIS
I don't know the particular.
conducted themselves.
I don't know about the.
Well, okay, if I controversial point, if ISIS can be praised for anything, it's definitely their creative forms of torture.
The video we're talking
Well, ISIS were one of the most deadly terror groups in the world.
Absolutely.
They committed a series of appalling atrocities,
Sure.
killing innocent people left, right, and
Completely,
centre.
yeah.
How could you possibly have satisfaction?
Well, if it's the video I'm recollecting, if it's the video we're talking about, it's about the fact that I believe ISIS was funded by the West and created by the West in the first place. And it wasn't a degree of satisfaction like I'm happy ISIS exists. It was a commentary on the world.
Well, here's
The
what you
fact-
said. ISIS are the real Muslims because ISIS do exactly what the book says. Kill everyone who's not a Muslim and chop people's heads off and set them on fire and be raging lunatics. But all the other Muslims go, they're not real Muslims because I read the book and ignore those parts. Well, then you're not an effing Muslim because you're ignoring the effing book.
That's an interesting point you've just raised because I am now Islamic. And it's funny because I used to be an atheist. And when you're an atheist, you believe that religion causes more problems than it fixes. And then you come to a realization and you start to learn the truth of yourself and the truth of God. And you realize that religion is actually the cure for most of the problems in the world. And godlessness is the problem in the world. So that is something I will apologize for and admit I was wrong about because I was atheistic. And now as a Muslim, I understand that's absolutely not the case.
It's funny, and I just want to add additional context. Hey, I actually found a point in time where I can add additional context. Expect something in regards to better understanding Islam. I'll put out a video on something like this because it's very interesting, because growing up, I'm a man of a certain age, so of course I grew up, I was 11 when the towers fell on 9/11, and the amount of propaganda against Islam and Muslims in general, huge. It's just a massive amount, the likes of which probably have never seen before and unlikely to see again. Maybe the Trump stuff, maybe, but just the outright detestation, and the only people that were sticking up for them were detestable individuals to begin with, so it was very easy to allow the demonization to continue and occur unabashedly. It's just, now taking a look at it in retrospect, I'd really have to understand the text a little bit more to see if all of the stuff that, especially atheists, who are probably the most detestable class that's out there, just all of the crazy stuff that they say, especially about the prophet and him and a 13-year-old, and that's like all of that weird stuff as well. It's like, is that actually in there? I don't know. Or is it just some kind of crossed reading, like the way that, gay preachers try to justify their existence in Christianity? It's all very interesting. It's something that I definitely have to take a look into deeply, because as somebody who doesn't adhere to one specific religion, I'd be more than willing to just hear everybody out when it comes to this, because obviously strong cultures are backed by a strong religion, and especially recently with the NHL in particular, them standing up on the back of strong Christian beliefs. I appreciate that more than anything that the NHL has done recently. So
If that's the particular video you're talking about, then there's
Well, that's really interesting. So you regret saying that?
Yeah, because you learn and you grow and you evolve, as I said. At the time, I believed it because I didn't believe in God at the time. It was a very long time ago. It's actually kind of a testament to you, Piers. You managed to find the oldest possible videos of me that have ever existed. But at the time, I was atheistic.
Well, no, I was curious because you have recently converted to Islam.
Correct.
So these questions, I think, are pertinent to your conversion.
Absolutely.
As to what you actually believe as a practicing Muslim now.
Yeah, I believe that Islam is beautiful. I believe it's the last true religion on earth. It's certainly the last respected religion on earth. And I felt differently inside since I've converted. And I think it has the solutions to a lot of the problems we're facing in the world today. That particular video was once again satirical. A lot of people watching this would not have seen it. They would not have seen the joke element of it. It's fine. But
It's not funny, though, is
no,
it?
well, it's like most of the times we discussed in our first interview with me. Things are taken out of context, short form, et cetera, et cetera. But all in all, you could say the same things about Christians. If you were to read the Old Testament and say, stick to the Old Testament, you'd kill anyone who works on a Sunday. So it's not applicable to
You
read the
wouldn't
books in the Bible.
countenance.
no, exactly. And the way that he tried to quote pick that specific video, if that's exactly what it was, it's obviously devoid of context. It's like the one that everybody brings up when it comes to, a smack, a knock her down, grip her up by the throat, bang, sex. That one. What if your girlfriend catches you cheating and she comes at you with a machete going, always leaves out that part. And then without the additional raised character aspect of that, it's like, okay, cool, you can read it like that. Any quote of a joke written out in full text never looks like a joke. Jokes are made mostly on the way that they're delivered.
Violence.
Say again?
You don't countenance violence.
I absolutely do not countenance violence. When I was talking about violence being the bottom line decider between disagreeing points of view, it's not I'm calling for violence. I'm just making a commentary on how the world genuinely functions.
But when you use a word like satisfaction, You understand that people will watch that and think, how can you possibly find any form of terrorism satisfying?
I don't find any form of terrorism satisfying. I don't find Western terrorism satisfying either. I don't think it's satisfying that we managed to find $500,000 per bomb to drop on some farmer who makes $4 a day under the name of freedom.
Well,
and we can't seem to pay our nurses enough to do their jobs. I don't find any kind of terrorism. And it's actually very interesting you talk about the word terrorism. Terrorist and freedom fighter, good guy and bad guy, all of this is subjective. There are people who believe that the West are the biggest terrorists on the earth. There are people who believe that America causes more wars than anyone else, and they've killed more people than anyone else. And there's people who believe the absolute opposite. So once again, it depends who you're talking to. It's a subjective conversation. There's no black and white in the world. There's areas of gray, and that's how it is. So I thought you were talking about another video where I was saying that ISIS is standing up and fighting for what they believe in. I'm not saying what they believe in is right, but that's what they were fighting for at the time. And it was a completely different video than the one you were actually referencing.
That you would...
In my perspective, the Jedi are evil. No, it totally makes sense, man. Like, okay. The way that you frame like a self-defense argument, okay, like if you guys were watching any of the Nick Rekieta coverage when it came to, there was one I forget the names of the players involved, but there was one self-defense shooting case where I guess it would have been the plaintiff side of the argument. So the state side of the argument was vehement that this old guy just shot the aggressor, okay, just in no justification for self-defense at all, okay? And then from the other side, it's like, yeah, no, he was going to be coming over the movie theater seats. I think it was a Curtis Reeves trial. Is that the name of the guy? I think I got that right. But yeah, he was going to be coming over and he's going to attack him. He's an older gentleman, so it's highly likely that if it wasn't going to be grave bodily injury, it was going to be pretty significant injury. So it all depends on your perspective, and that's always important context, because more often than not, I'd really have to think about that maybe a little bit further, but most things you can pretty much call, and then you can have the additional context and have that make sense, and maybe you flip, but most decisions are binary. It's just the context that's involved on top of it that makes it more gray, but normally you can come to a conclusion on things.
Condemn them now.
I don't condemn anybody doing anything bad to anybody. I'm not a person out here with a criminal record. I don't hurt anyone. I just spent my first segment on this show talking about how I believe in law and order and how important that is. I think people can operate inside of their lives safely and walk around. Man, woman, child can walk around in safety in any city they live in. How that law and order is constructed is not my jurisdiction. I'm not in charge of the law and order of Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Afghanistan, Kazakhstan, any of them. It's nothing to do with me.
I want to talk to you after the break about masculinity. Why is it that so many young men gravitate to you? What is your view of what it takes to be a man? Welcome back to the special edition of Piers Morgan Uncensored with Andrew Tate, one-on-one. So Ash Sarkar, who's a lively contributor to this program, Andrew Tate, who you're interviewing about free speech, thinks women are a man's property. We shouldn't be allowed to drive. Boasts about only dating teenagers to imprint on them. Misogynists are discussing whether they're in Afghanistan or a swanky London studio.
Oh my God.
Am I a misogynist, am I? I don't think, first thing she said.
Yo, of all the things to bring up, it's like, yeah, okay, I said all of that. I said all of that stuff. You know how I said that this is the perfect interview to display ironclad frame. You're not going to step in anybody else's frame. I am here. I am the interviewee. You are going to listen to me. I'm not going to fall for any of your tricks. This is learning from your enemy and then coming back 1,000% stronger. It's so great.
I don't even truly believe. If you're prepared to listen to me, I'll explain to you exactly why she's completely and utterly wrong. If you can go through the points again, she said.
Do you think you're a misogynist?
Absolutely not. I'm not a misogynist on any level. This is one of those buzzwords they just throw at people randomly. Homophobic, racist, misogynist. They just throw it out at people.
What is your view of women?
I'm a realist.
Remember when racism was the strongest term that you could level against somebody? And then what was the one that it hopped up to? Eventually, it just ended up with white supremacy, which is just so ridiculous, especially when you start accusing, or what was that, the LA Times headline where it was Larry Elder, the blackface of white supremacy. Once you get to that point of clown world and behavior, it's just words cease to become useful when you're engaging with the other side. People like us, if we can have conversations, we're pretty based and understand that words are used as descriptions, not as means in order to slander your opposition. But yeah, no, we've got to a point where anything that you disagree with, you immediately chalk up to your feelings and regurgitate whatever immediately comes to mind instead of, what do you mean by that? Okay, because there's a couple of people and some people that I've talked to either in the comment sections or in other places as well, where it's like, yeah, we might disagree on a couple of different things, but yeah, at the gist of it, I understand that you argue in good faith, I'm arguing in good faith, we're just disagreeing on some of the terms.
What is your real view of women?
I absolutely not only love women. I adore women. I have good relationships with women. Not a single woman has come up to me on the street since I've been canceled. Not a single one has said anything negative. Every single one of them has said positive things. You're a traditional male. I wish more men were like you. You understand your masculine roles. You understand what you're supposed to do. You understand you're supposed to protect women. You're exactly the kind of man I'd be looking for. I've never had a negative interaction with a female ever since I've been dubbed the biggest misogynist in the world. Please let me finish. I'm sorry, Pierce. Also, there's not been a single woman who's accused me of a crime. Not a single woman who's accused me of rape. Not a single woman who's come out and said anything from my entire past of 36 years I've done anything wrong ever. Anybody else with my level of fame, any footballer, any other movie star, at least has people who've come out and accused them of rape, X, Y, Z. I have no woman who's come out and ever said I've hurt her. No woman who's come out and ever said I've done damage to her or been horrible to her. Everybody who ever's interacted with me has said I've been a nice person. All of them. So this random.
To be fair, we got a big asterisk on that right now. But it's actually okay. Yeah. So obviously, locked up for a minute, but throw on top of that, still has no credible accusations. We got that one.
Random Twitter, nobody who seems to know so much is full of.
All right, you've responded to her tweet.
Yeah,
where is the line for you between masculinity, which I will always defend, and which I agree with? I think a lot of women like men to be masculine, and what has become known as toxic masculinity. And the reason I ask you is that you are engaged in that debate with men all the time. Where is the line for you where men shouldn't cross, where the behaviour should be kept within a line?
Please define toxic masculinity.
Well, you tell me what you think it crosses a line from being a masculine, good man to a bad man.
There's no such thing as too much masculinity if it's genuinely masculine. Genuine masculinity is not out here to hurt people. It's absolutely the opposite. It's out here to protect. And when bad things happen, they call traditionally masculine men. If you need a firefighter, you need a masculine man. When you call the police because of a problem you have, you want masculine men. And as soon as a woman or a man is in trouble, when you look for backup, you look for masculine men. And masculine men have a duty to provide and protect those they care about. We have a duty to do things we don't feel like doing because we know we're supposed to do them. And that's why we stayed in the Titanic and died. Those were masculine men.
Where did you get your views about this from?
That's what I grew up with. It's the family I grew up around.
Your father, your mother?
Yeah, and the world I lived in. And I think a lot of the things I'm saying now about masculinity and how people should act in the world, how the world should function, were considered completely normal and accepted by everybody only 20 years ago. I think the world's just lost its mind. For me to stand up and say a man should protect a woman now gets to be called a misogynist and canceled. If I said that 10 years ago, everyone would say, duh. And what's funny is, everyone who argues against me and says men shouldn't protect women, especially all the feminists, if they were with their boyfriend and a man broke into their house, guess who they'd expect to go downstairs? Who do you think? Think they go themselves? Are they going to Afghanistan? No, we send men to do these things. So
well, we send women.
No, it's interesting because I've wrestled with the idea of when did we have this cultural flip. Because obviously, okay, you could go all the way back to like the 50s. Obviously, that's always when the tradcons want to go back to. If everything was like the 1950s, and it's like, well, we're never going to be going back to that point in time. Obviously, the emergence of political correctness on college campuses really started in the mid to late 1990s. That's when everything started to bubble up, but then it was quickly, silenced down. It's like, what's all this, feeling shit, and you want me to worry about my language? No. 2 + 2 is 2, or 2 + 2 is fucking 4, or 2 + 2 is 4, or 2 + 2 is fucking 4. It really doesn't change the fact. So trying to word police doesn't end up changing the conversation, or it ends up changing the conversation. It doesn't end up changing the facts of the matter, and what matters are the facts of the matter. So I think it's I've really thought about this conversation, or this topic quite a bit, and seem to come down to the conclusion that probably, it was definitely somewhere around, the 1960s, 1970s, with the first weak generation that was raised by broken homes ended up becoming the next generation of broken homes. It ended up with the first generation of children raised by people that have never seen a not broken home, and now we're living in the aftermath of that. And that's why feelings get prioritized over facts, because feelings led to broken homes, and now we have people governed by their feelings, making feelings-related decisions, and now everybody doesn't feel very good because there's no structure around it.
In the armed forces too.
You have to generalize when you make points.
There are many courageous people.
Exceptions do not disprove the rule.
No, but you've got to concede there are many courageous women serving in the armed forces.
Absolutely and utterly, completely correct. But by and large, traditionally, soldiers are men. Exceptions do not disprove the rule.
Well, it's not an exception. It's the fact that there are a lot of women now in the armed forces.
Correct. But if you were to take the average soldier, they are a male. If you're allowed to say who's a male and who isn't nowadays, I'm assuming their gender, I apologize. If you were to take the average soldier, they're a male, which means that exceptions are the female soldiers, because there's a lower percent of them, a lower probability. Exceptions do not disprove the rules. Men do the fighting. Right now in Ukraine, men cannot leave. Women are allowed to leave because men have to fight in the front line and women are allowed to go to Dubai. That is how it is.
What do you say to young men who come to you for advice, who feel lost, who don't really know where they fit into society?
I say that life as a man is exceptionally difficult. I say the most beautiful and the most terrifying thing about being a man is you're born without value. Society doesn't care about you. You're only going to be cared about based on how useful you are. You have the chance to build yourself up and become a superhero if you're prepared to do the hard work and be indefatigable enough to never quit. But if you're going to stand around and wait for a handout, nobody's going to ever respect you. And I think that a lot of people have forgotten about how difficult and how competitive it is as a man. We're always in constant competition with each other. And it's your duty as a man to stand up and say, I want to be as important and strong and good-hearted and God-fearing as possible. And I need to work hard to achieve those things.
Dame Sheila Hancock says we've become too over-emotional as a society, crying too much about
I forgot about this part.
Well, you got a point?
She's completely right. And the dangerous thing about overly emotional men is that they're dangerous. They're genuinely dangerous. This is what's crazy.
Yes.
All these people who talk about toxic masculinity and how bad it is for men to be traditionally masculine. A traditionally masculine man does things he doesn't feel like doing because it is his duty to do them. He charges into the building because it is his duty. Not because he feels like it, because it is his duty. We're now teaching the new generation of men that they don't have duty and they can just act on their feelings and act how they feel and they don't have to act as a man should. Do you know what happens when you get men who just act how they feel? You get school shooters, you get violence, you get rapists. Men who do not control their emotions are dangerous. If you
Such
find a man
a
who's
strong
stoic,
point.
he's not going to hurt people. He's going to sit and think about his actions very carefully, and he's going to be a good man who protects and provides for his family. You find a man who just acts out on impulse and does whatever he feels like, you're going to find a dangerous man. Sitting here telling men to cry more and act with their feelings, and it's okay to feel this way, that way, etc., and have no self-control. That is why we have the problems we have in the world. Absolutely and utterly wrong. So when they talk about toxic masculinity, they have it completely inversed on its head, completely and utterly wrong. We need to be teaching stoicism. We need to be teaching young men to understand that the world is very, very difficult. It's hard to be a man. You're going to feel bad sometimes. You need to suck it up and perform anyway. Not to sit there and cry your eyes out or blame other people.
Tough
or
being a
cop
woman
out.
too in modern society.
It's certainly tough being a woman, but I'm not a woman, so why would I speak on issues I do not understand? I'm a man.
You can feel empathy for women.
I feel empathy, certainly, but I do not understand their issues.
See, a lot of men come up to me and they admire you. I've got to say, a lot of
Jesus
women
Christ.
I've spoken to don't.
That's the reason that I fuck so hard with the Tate message. That was perfect. That was absolutely perfect. Dudes do stuff regardless of the way that they feel. Strong men do. Okay, I can tell you what, man. Let me make this about me for a second, but I'll tell you what, man. If I'm working late into the night, like it's probably going to be about 10 o'clock before I have a chance to have dinner. I'm totally fine with that because I am here regardless of all the shortfalls of this fucking stream, losing the second channel earlier today. All of that shit sucks, but you know what? I said I was going to be going live on Saturday. I said that I was going to be putting up 3 videos every single day. I said that I was going to record stuff. I said that I was going to go and do everything that I possibly can in order to make this channel a success because I gave my word to the people and all of the good people that are in the chat right now and who will see this into the future. I don't feel like doing this stuff all the time. I wake up in the morning and it's like, oh, fuck, I would just like to, just chill out for a second. But you know what I do? I wake up at 7 o'clock every single morning and I go and fucking do it because I owe it to you guys. I owe it to myself. If I don't have my word, I have nothing in this world. And that's a common through line with every single successful man that's out there, okay? Even from a guy, and I would imagine, okay, this is probably still Tate's message at the end of the day, even him getting out of prison. You do what you have to in order to succeed. If it feels good, that's a bonus. But if it isn't, if you still have to do it, you just go fucking do it. And that's another thing, man. Like, okay, so I was listening to Fresh and Fit last night, their after-hour show, which is kind of hit and miss sometimes, and the producer, Chris, is one of the most annoying people whenever he gets a little bit too drunk that's on there. But there was a feminist, a Destiny stan that was out there, and she was mischaracterizing the red pill, okay? It's always cringe to call, what's your ideology? Oh, the red pill ideology. No, it's a praxeology. It's a set of... Whatever the fuck, okay? This understanding of empiricism in the world, a realistic take on the world. It's the fuck was I saying? I lost my train of thought there for a second. But no. It's the mischaracterization of red pill, a realistic take on the world that just boils me up inside because their interpretation of that is, and the way that she characterizes it is, a red pill is just all about smashing chicks. The red pill is exactly what Andrew Tate just talked about. It's about a man knowing and understanding that he has to perform in order to become. Nothing is given to you as a man. I started this channel, this one right here that you're watching everything on, from fucking zero. No social media presence at all whatsoever. It was just a man with this microphone, with that video camera right there, speaking his mind and his ideas, regardless if he was sick with the coof, regardless if his father was having a stroke, regardless if his pets died. It didn't fucking matter at all whatsoever. You just did it because you gave your word and you said you were going to fucking do it. So that's what I think the red pill is. That's what I think that this praxeology, this ideology is. Whatever the fuck you want to call it at the end of the day. It's a set of ideals in order to make you succeed in every endeavor of human, or every, god damn it, every avenue of human endeavor. The fuck, I fucked up, and it was such a good rant. Oh well.
They think you represent misogyny. They think when they hear you not commit to saying the Taliban shouldn't be banning women from university education, well, why can't he just say that's wrong?
Well, firstly, that's not my experience. I experience the absolute and utter opposite of that. Secondly, it's because it's a moral point I'm making. My moral point is I speak on things I understand. I speak on experiences I've had.
But you believe in equality?
Yes. I speak on subjects I know intimately. I do not feel qualified. I'm a realist, and I do not feel qualified to sit and discuss the gender laws in Afghanistan. I have not been to Afghanistan. I have not researched the subject thoroughly. I'm not going to sit here and say how the Taliban should be running their country. It's nothing to do with me. I find it quite flattering, Piers, that although, I understand I'm monumentally influential, the most Google mount.
George, man, if it's going out specifically to you, reading your stuff in the chat here for a second. Twitter, man, I'm pretty sure like the DMs and shit are open, and if not, just reach out, man. Legitimately, everybody who's here right now, through all the fucking thick and thin and the craziness of this fucking stream earlier today, if there's anything that I can do for you guys, honestly, just fucking reach out, man. If you ever need anything, I really do appreciate everybody being here right now, everybody who's going to see this into the future, because I want everybody to succeed. I want everybody to come along, and we're going to make it. It's just going to be a slow old fucking process, okay? So, yeah, just, whatever I can do, just reach out, okay? Okay.
On Earth, etc. I find it very flattering that you think I have some kind of control over the domestic policy of Afghanistan, but I assure you I don't. I don't.
No, I'm not asking you to have a view on having influence over domestic policy. I'm sure the Taliban couldn't give a stuff what either of us say about it. It's just curious to me that it's an easy win for you to make women think you're not anti them, to say that when they're not given equality, as the women in Afghanistan clearly are not, because they're not allowed to go to university now, as of today.
My God.
That is clearly
Find a new talking
unfair.
point, Piers.
We should all be able to agree that that is wrong.
Well, certainly as a realist.
Even you, tough guy, Andrew.
It's not tough guy. I am a professional. As a professional, I can state that yes, it is not equal. Yes, it is not fair. That is obvious for anybody. I'm not saying those things are not true. What I'm saying is it's nothing to do with me.
Right, okay, but you made a concession you think is wrong. Then.
I said it's unequal and it's unfair.
Yeah, so wrong.
Well, perhaps.
Force yourself, Andrew.
No, perhaps it's wrong under certain moral guidelines, but under the moral guidelines which are currently in charge of the jurisdiction of Afghanistan, they don't believe it's wrong. It's nothing to do with me. Well, I'm not going to sit here and tell other countries how to run their laws. I'm going to live in societies with laws I respect.
You know what? I'll take unfair and unequal.
Sure.
Because that's self-explanatory. We're going to have a game of chess in a minute after the break, because you are a very good chess player. I can hold my own with the chessboard. Your father was a chess international master.
Shit is fucking hilarious.
And we're going to have
you guys want to watch? You guys want to watch the chess game, because it's mostly just Andrew smoking them by saying a couple of things over the top. Not fuck it. We might as well. And then if you guys have any questions or anything like that to wrap up everything, I think we'll probably. We'll do a little Q&A before we round out, but we'll watch a chess game. Actually, making it an executive decision.
Are you good, Piers?
Well,
you're going to destroy me.
Clearly, from this opening, better than you.
I don't think I've actually watched the game. I've listened to it a bunch of different times. I listen to everything that I say that I watch. It's kind of like people saying that they read audiobooks.
School chess champion, eh?
Mm-hmm.
This is one thing that I want to get better at. Chess. It was one of those things at school that I played all of the time and never got any good at it.
He is pretty good at the game, I heard.
Time to get aggressive with you, Mr. Tate. Show you a bit of toxic chess masculinity.
Well, the world's been pretty aggressive with me lately, Piers, so I'm used to it. It's fine.
Got the bishop in there. Okay.
Oops. Apologize.
It's one of those things that I just don't
Why do you think the
understand
queen?
at all.
345.
Why do you think the queen gets to jump across the board and the king doesn't?
Because it's sexist.
The game of chess is sexist, but perhaps it reflects life, Piers. Haven't you ever thought that when you look at a yacht?
See, okay, things like that, when Pierce says that, you know that he's putting on a persona in front of the camera and that he's definitely a different person behind it, and he let it slip there for a moment. kind of funny because he can joke. He can joke.
In Dubai.
You're running out of time. Stop stalling. I know what you're
Fine,
doing.
I'll just take your
Oh, God!
I'll take your queen.
Damn it.
I was trying to give you a little speech there. You didn't want to listen to it.
No,
I was
I
trying to
didn't
tell you when you
listen.
see a yacht in Dubai, the girl just gets an Instagram invite, gets to jump right on board. She
So
gets
listen-
to run across the board and do whatever she wants, but the man has to get there a square at a time. The man had to buy that yacht. That's the difference between being a man and being a woman. That's why the queen gets
You
to
know
do how
what?
she does.
A chivalrous man just always lets ladies go first.
Life and chess
That's why I
reflect.
let you go first.
Life and chess reflect, Piers.
I've made a catastrophic error, but I'm bouncing back.
Let's see. I always accidentally take someone's chick.
3 minutes.
I don't even mean to. It's just like, oops.
You need to stop knocking my pieces over like some.
Doug.
Yeah, exactly.
Need to get a magnetic chessboard.
He's not getting in my head. They're talking to me saying you're getting in my head.
Yo.
How do you think chess reflects life?
I think that it's all about strategy.
Correct.
That if you're good at chess, you can be good at pretty much anything because it's about thinking ahead, it's about planning, it's about relentless practice.
And you know what else is beautiful about chess? If you lose, somewhere you made a mistake. There is no luck.
Absolutely right.
Yep.
In chess, even if it's the smallest mistake, somewhere it was your fault. It teaches absolute self-accountability, which
Yep.
is something that we need a lot more of in
True.
the world today.
That is true.
And that's why chess is so important. You can take my knight if you want.
Okay.
You don't want it? Why don't you want my knight?
Because I'm playing a long game.
Oh, okay.
It won't be a
I'm
long
gonna leave
game.
it there.
You're playing
Just
speed
take
chess,
it
bro.
anyway.
Come on
Okay.
now.
I'm going to go.
Because I know what you want me to do, and I'm not going to do it. Actually, I will do it now.
Okay, good. Check. 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 Check.
How long? I need to buy some time here. I need to buy some time.
Yo.
This is really playing well on radio, by the way.
Absolutely dog
Damn
walking
it.
him.
I'm screwed. I'm screwed.
Don't say that,
How long have I
Piers.
got? 1
You
minute
need to
12.
believe in yourself.
I never ever give up.
Believe in yourself,
I do
Piers.
believe in myself, thank you.
Self-belief is important.
I do believe in myself, but this has not gone well. You're quite good at chess, I'll give you that.
Yeah, well, in the chessboard of life, I've done pretty good. I've done okay. Check.
The question is, can you beat me in time? You've only got 50 seconds.
Check. That's interesting.
Yeah.
5 seconds.
I don't think you can.
Let's see.
Uh,
Mate in 2, Piers.
D-
Yeah, you can have that. Doesn't matter. It's mate in 2. Check. Mate. Good. Good game, sir.
well played.
Fucking Christ.
25 seconds away from safety.
Oh, 25.
Okay, well,
Fuck.
Andrew Tate,
So
I'll
close.
give you something. You're good at chess.
Thank you.
You have to be. You just beat me.
I know you're a internationally renowned
What has
player.
chess taught you about life, quickly?
I can teach you a lot of things. Like I said about the queen being able to run around the board, the king having to move a square at a time, about the fact you need to think ahead, absolutely everything is your fault.
Or as, oh my god, who pointed that out? That shit was fucking hilarious too. I was dying inside. Yo, static. Yeah, exactly. The queen could go anywhere because the chessboard looks like a kitchen floor. Fucking based. You were also in those 1970s kitchens as well.
But there is a saying, which is actually one of my favorite sayings in the world. It said, a well-played game of chess is a sign of a gentleman, but an expertly played game of chess is the sign of a wasted life. And it's kind of sad. It was
I
said
played
by the
Lennox
Pentagon.
Lewis on Celebrity Apprentice 39 times out of 40 in America years ago, and he beat me 39 times out of 40 of me. And I was amazed. He was taught by his mum, but he
Lennox
was all
Lewis.
about the way he fought, the way he boxed,
Yeah.
was all down to the way he played chess.
Yeah, chess-
It was all about looking ahead, getting ahead of your opponent, planning punches, all that kind of thing.
Chess absolutely reflects life, and even I say this now in my business meetings with my team. A lot of the problem in the world today, especially with teams and businesses, etc., everyone wants to be the king. But if you want to have a team, if you want to have a side that wins, if you want to win a game of chess, everybody has to know their role and do their role effectively. There can be a king and a rook and a pawn and a bishop and a knight, and everyone does everything correctly. And when that happens, you have a very formidable board and you're hard to beat. And chess reflects life absolutely. It's something I do every single day.
What kind of man was your father?
He was the greatest man on the face of the planet, but luckily he had me, and now in the natural order of the universe, he is gone, and I'm here, and I carry his name, and it is my duty to bring honor to him. And this is one of the greatest things about achievement, because achievement honors your ancestors. People talk about my father because of how successful I am, and people will talk about me into eternity, even after my death, because of how successful my son will be. This is the great thing about achievement. It's an honor to your ancestors.
What would he have made of your success, your father?
He would be extremely underwhelmed by it because he always expected it of me. I am Andrew Tate III. I can do whatever I put my mind to. And he would be like, well, of course, you decided you wanted to become the most famous man on the planet. It took you a few months, of course.
Does your mother ever do what my mother does and occasionally go, I think you went too far there?
My mother has absolute trust in my abilities and capabilities. She says, be careful, do your best, but you are the most capable and competent man on the planet. And I
That
know
wasn't
you
the
will.
question.
That's what she says. She says, be careful.
Does she ever say you shouldn't have said that?
Nah, she knows better than that.
Really?
No, never. She says, "You're just be careful. You know what you're doing." It's kind of hard to argue against me, and this is what my haters seem to struggle with. It's hard to argue against a person who is monumentally successful in every single human metric that can possibly be measured. This is why young men respect me so much.
Would you ever tell your mother what to do?
They want to be my life.
Do you ever tell her what to do?
I don't need to. She's a full-grown woman.
Would you ever tell her what to do?
I would give her my advice if she asked for it.
You say you can't leave the home, you can't drive, all those things you joke about?
I'd give her my opinion. I would say perhaps you should move house now, or perhaps that's not safe. Or yeah, I would absolutely, because I'm responsible for her safety. And when you're responsible for somebody's safety, you have an opinion, and you need to have a firm opinion on that subject. So completely, for any woman I'm responsible for her safety, I will sit and say that's an unsafe thing to do.
How much are you worth?
Exactly.
I'm a billionaire by now.
I think we already went over that when it came to the first podcast with the failed attempt on that one, but I think that's good. I really do think that's good. Yeah, smart pivot to this one, I think. Wasn't really getting much from the other podcast that's out there, but it's interesting the way that Tate talks about legacy towards the end of that interview. That's something, okay? Just once again, just a little peek behind the curtain. That's something that really drives me because my surname, obviously, you know, somebody who is a quarter Scottish, Irish, native, and Ukrainian. The last name Consuelo, yeah, it might be a character. Wow, it's shocker, right? But I'm still me, regardless. It's just, you know, it's also more searchable in the algorithm because my actual last name is like really difficult to spell. Like, how would you? Here's an exclusive for everybody. How would you spell Dara? Yeah, exactly. A little tough, huh? So there's a reason behind the name anyways, in and of itself. So so you just put that out there. But the reason that I wanted to engage in the public discourse, and especially when it was a time that everybody else was hopping into the area as well, I seen a little slot that was going to be out there when it came to just a truth-based information, not just somebody reiterating personal facts over and over and over again. Okay, shout out Tim Pool, fantastic, wonderful. But you do all of that stuff, okay? You leave a vacuum that's out there, daily content over and over and over again. And what I ultimately want to do with this channel, with this community, because I see you guys just talking back and forth, and that's fantastic stuff. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to build. And I want to have other people that like-minded individuals take all of this stuff and grow it up together so that we have something, because there's such a lack of that camaraderie that's actually out there when it comes to just a group of people. Might as well go to the camera, okay? There's a bunch of fucking noise outside, so I'm keeping the cans on for a second, but for all intents and purposes, we're done. If there's any questions or anything that you guys want in there while I'm on my little diatribe here, feel free, ask away. I've got, I've really got nothing but time. I'm just going to have a bite to eat after this and maybe, just tidy up a couple of the other things on the back end. But no, I do this, and it's funny because I just started to read a new book, Your Next 5 Moves, Patrick Bet-David's first book that he put out there, and there's 6 points that are on there, and it's something that I aspire to do with everything that I do. Is you search my surname, and there's not very many people there. I think there's like one Irish singer. And that's it. That's it when it comes to anybody of notoriety with that last name, okay? I want to be that person. I want to be that person that leaves a dent in the world's ass that carries that name, because I come from a long line of hardworking individuals. I respect nobody in this world more than my father. My mother has taught me so many things about what a strong family unit is and what she does and what she doesn't do, that it's I wouldn't be who I am without those two people that are there, and I hold them in such a high regard. I want to make them proud. That's the entire reason that I do what I do, put my face out there like that, and then just try to put on the best show possible. Sometimes it ends up in a burning dumpster fire, kind of like this, and I'm actually having a pretty good time now, the fact that I'm just over my seething rage about the videos taken down, but it's all good. It's all good. I want to put pride and respect on my familial name, and I also want to make the people proud that raised me, and I do that all in service of them. The rest of this shit, I don't fucking care. The money that may or may not come, that's important stuff, but I'm here to leave a legacy, okay? Because there are some people that worked fucking hard in order for myself and everybody to get to this point. And if I don't elevate that going forward into the future, nobody's going to talk about me with that same fervor and the same appreciation. So that's why I do what I do. It's nothing for the views. I don't chase drama. If I really wanted to take the easy access to this stuff, I would do all of the different drama pieces that are out there. Hey, did you see Moist Critical and Sneeko did a fight together? Boy, that sure was fun. Oh my god, he really owned Sneeko when he said mag, dumbass. Bruh, I don't really fucking care, okay? For as much as I talked shit about the South Park impersonation, that recent Meat Canyon video, that was very interesting how well portrayed Charlie was as opposed to Sneeko. Like, couldn't even get the impersonation right, couldn't get anything about the stream layout correctly. Like, had a mock version of the Twitch chat that was down there. I was like, oh, okay, cool. We can see which way you're leaning, mostly because Charlie, Moist Critical, Penguin, whatever the fuck on YouTube, he's got a huge platform. Sneeko, banned to Rumble, okay? It's a clout chasing game. I could do the drama video stuff like that, but then that wouldn't be congruent with who I am. What's congruent to me? It's talking a bunch of politics, sticking up for good individuals who have been unjustly prosecuted, who is keeping 10 toes down for the truth and honesty, regardless how many slings and arrows I'm going to take. Because, hey man, if I wake up in the morning and this channel's gone, I'm just going to take a deep breath, the same way that I did this morning when I found out the second channel was gone. Take a deep breath, thank the good Lord that I still have Rumble out there to put out the message. I don't know, fucking hand out some applications, raise up my cash, and then just give this shit one more try into the future. But that's the way that I am, and that's why I recognized real about this time last year when I was first put on to this entire message, because I've been thinking about these ideas for a very, very, very long time, something I've talked about as well. The first instance of listening to anybody espousing these ideas was Patrice O'Neill back in 2014. That was long after he started to put any of those ideas to tape. And so listened to those, ruminated on those ideas, and then heard the likes of Rollo Tomasi talk these specific issues. And then from there ended up going over to Fresh and Fit. And then, of course, finding Andrew Tate as well. And they connected a bunch of dots for me as well, on top of all of the groundwork that I'd done just about a decade prior at this point in time. So that's why I think taking this message and disseminating it out to another audience that's out there, that's why I think it's so goddamn important, because it has done wonders for myself, and I think that it can do wonders for the world. So, little diatribe aside, I'm going to go ahead and check the chat here. It's wild. I went to the camera view, and active users went up. But you guys are just, going back and forth. That's fantastic. Yeah, Jen. PBD, it's interesting. I don't know if you watch the podcast or not, okay? But I like him, and I definitely like his mob interviews. I probably listened to is there 2 or 3 of the Michael Francis interviews? Like, that he's very interesting. Maybe in the future we'll react to one of his podcasts or his interviews. But PBD's a very, very good interviewer, even with uninteresting people. But it's just that daily or bi-weekly podcast that he does with that little fucking Adam Sosnick that just, it's intolerable. Every once in a while there's a good guest that's on there, but that guy's a fucking snake, and I haven't liked him since they first launched that channel. Like, I remember when there was 30, 40, 50 concurrent viewers, but now it's just a fucking juggernaut. But nothing but respect for PBD. Yeah. He's a really, really, really smart guy, and his book so far has been really fucking good. So I just want to see if there's anything else here. Do a good man's name. Yeah, get a locals going. Interesting. Okay, interesting thing about locals. I have it going. It's just I need to figure out how to. That could be tomorrow's little thing, because obviously I don't have to make any more banners or banding or anything like that. But yeah, I got the locals page. I have it linked through Rumble, which I might be able to show you guys and everything, considering I got the camera up and everything. So yeah, if we go through here, My channel. Okay, yeah, then I can bring it up. It's weird. It's hilarious. That is so fucking funny, given the fact that... no, just go to my channel, for fuck's sakes. Okay. I woke up this morning with 889 followers on Rumble, and now it's over 890, which is just fucking hilarious. Okay, there it is. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's go to... Oh, for Pete's sake. This is why I need a second monitor, for Christ's sakes. Okay, capture. There we go, right there. Do have the little join button over there for locals and whatever. Just right now, it's a blank page. That's where I really want to make a nice little community that's over there, because I think that could be a lot of fun to do specific things, and especially over the summer. And don't take this the wrong way at all whatsoever, but I have... like, there's some outdoor streams that I wanted to do, and now it's just going to get sad for a second. I was going to do, like, you know, walking around, talking about different topics, streams, kind of like the end of this stream, just out there in the wild while I was walking my dog, but she's dead, so can't really do that. So, no, it'll just be probably going live on locals out in different areas. So I think that could be a lot of fun. That could be a lot of fun, including... like, there's access that I can get to. Depends on, like, okay, if I need to go take care of my, parents' place or anything like that. They got little cats and stuff like that. So if I need to go feed them, they have a hot tub and whatever. But, don't get any fucking ideas like that. We aren't going to be doing only dawns or anything like that. So just stop that. To get that out of your head for a second. So let's see. What else do we got? Okay. Cozy.tv. Yeah, it could be interesting. Oh, that's, yeah. So I love that. Oh, like I said, I don't want to get too maudlin or too sad about this one, but I took the... it's at the end of the day, it seems kind of stupid. It's like it's a little dog, but you know what? I tried to take her on as a little pet project because, like, she was getting pretty sick towards the end of her life, and I thought that, you know what, hey, if I just hop on and help her out now, like, to just go over and see her, just take her out for walks consistently, but... I didn't end up, turning out any results, and just kind of, it was a big failure on my part, but there's only so much you can do, but hey, it's it's all right. Yeah. Hot Tub Twitch stream. It's not going to be like that, and you can't buy your name on my arms, for Christ's sakes. Like, come on. No, let's see. Yeah. No, man. I love the fact that you guys, realistically, just looking at the chat and whatever, and it's like, I just love the fact that you guys are interacting with one another. That's definitely what I want to see. Like I said before, I want to create a community. I really want you guys all to come together, and this can be a like-minded place of like-minded individuals, and that could be a hell of a lot of fun, especially make something of this and go forward into the future on that. So... what do you guys think? It's about that time. I had a lot of fun. I always have a lot of fun talking with you guys, and just going forward on the stream. I think we'll probably we'll figure out something to do next week. Something where maybe something a little bit more infuriating, because I wanted to do, like, there were some Jubilee and Vice videos that are out there that are just absolutely atrocious. Like, there's one Vice panel about masculinity. I think that could be a good palate cleanser to just flip over from the Tate stuff. And I'm also thinking as well, like, I need to obviously get the whole Rumble thing going as well. But yeah. The fuck? See, again, I looked at the chat for a second and I ended up getting fucked up. But, fuck was I saying? Yeah, doing the responses to the Vice panels and shit like that. Like, that could be a lot of fun. Because then there's more clarification that we can have. Like, this... I just like Tate videos, and I just watch them or listen to them in the background, and I'm like, I'm listening to Tate talk, and it's like, yeah, no, I should be doing bicep curls right now. What crown to my... Oh, fuck, no, a little bit off at this point in time. But, no, I think that... I think that'll be fun. Okay, I dropped an anti-gun video the day after the shit. Yeah. You know what, Roger? You need to shut the fuck up. No. You know, I'm thinking about running another stream. What would be a good day for you guys? Because I know that there's 14 people. Why the fuck are there more people in here now while I'm just a rambling asshole towards the end of the stream? That's fine. That's fine. At least there's no cutting out at this point in time. I'll take a poll from you guys that are in here right now. Okay. I'll take a poll for you guys that are in here. If I am to add another day to stream, because obviously I want to get my reps in when it comes to this stuff and cover a bunch of different topics, because for my disposition against reaction streamers, there's also a niche in the market for people that can add additional context over top of it instead of just going, yeah, no, cool, based, yeah, fantastic, and just move on and be like, okay, remember to like, comment, subscribe. And it's like, there's additional stuff to be doing on that. So, what would be a good day that would work for you guys? What would you think? Sunday, Wednesday, Tuesday, something like that. Like, I don't know, man. Gavin McInnes left with dignity, the founder, and yeah, Seth and the Iranian. So, Gavin McInnes is that fucking guy. I really like Gavin McInnes. The first time that I heard about Gavin, in fact, was when he was a guest on Anthony Cumia's show. And again, I think for those of you in the back, Anthony Cumia is the funniest guy to ever do anything regarding to this microphone on a consistent basis that I have ever heard at all whatsoever. I think he's fantastic. Well, I guess it would be already. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, dude, it's been another day. Listen, I'm in the West, okay? Mountain time, okay? Rise up. Wednesday's good. Yeah, I was thinking about Wednesday. If I was going to be doing any day on top of this, it would probably be Wednesday, just as a good, midweek, yeah. Quick sidebar, have any of y'all seen the new John Wick? Yeah. I don't follow your Rumble. Watch Crowder daily. Sneako occasionally. Yeah, Sunday night is a sneaky good stream. Yeah, I'd probably go earlier if I was to do Wednesday, I would probably keep this same time. Or over on Sunday, it would be kind of it might be earlier. It might be kind of like a matinee stream. I think that could be fun. That could definitely be fun. Yeah, we'll see. Tuesday or Wednesday would kind of even out. Yeah, it would. Yeah. What's it, John? Yo, yeah, John Wick 4. I've seen that John Wick 4 is probably the best outside of the first one. I've seen some people break it down, and they seem to have pretty fun takes. Okay. Sleep stream. Yes, sleep stream. Any day as long as it's not early morning. I work graveyard. Yeah, yeah, I'll toy around with Sunday or Monday or Wednesday. Yeah, you guys gave me some good ideas and thinking about. Yeah, Tuesday or Wednesday would kind of even out the week. Yeah, very much so. Okay. And yeah, I got some shit to think about when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, it's midnight here. Yeah, in PA, and I'm here for it. Yeah. Huh? Shit, what the fuck? Oh, right. Yeah, it says that it's about time to go. But anyways, yeah. No, I'll think about that. Maybe, yo, man, Wes Lasanga, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. If you're serious about that gun video, don't hold me to it. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe I'll stream exclusively over to Rumble tomorrow. Maybe I'll do that, but I'll put a blast out. I'll put a blast out on YouTube in order to catch everybody up on that one. Because that could be a lot of fun, and if there's anybody who's a little light in the loafers, I can call them exactly what they deserve to be called over on Rumble. That could be a lot of fun. That could be definitely a lot of fun. Yeah, we'll see. Yo, this dude. 762. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, John Wick 4 was great. Okay, what time am I thinking tomorrow? It wouldn't be crazy late. It wouldn't be crazy early either. Let's see, Eastern time's probably a good way to gauge everything for everybody. Like, okay, how many videos do I got to record tomorrow? Got a half dozen. I could probably go live at about 5 my time, so that would be 7 out west, I think. Probably 5 mountain. So that would be, because I see George, you're out there. Yeah, George, you're out there in PA, so that would be 7 out there for you, and out west that would be 4. Yeah, so kind of like instead of tuning in for any of that cringe ass, the fucking oh my god, evening news. Your boy's got the streamer brain for talking for so long and not having anybody else that's in there, and this fucking room is getting hot as a motherfucker, by the way, so I think that could be fun. Doing that gun video, that would be fucking ridiculous. Yeah, it's anti-NRA. Check it out. They had that locked and loaded, oddly enough. Yo, who's talking about watching Crowder in the Morning on Wednesdays? I'm sorry, on Rumble. Because, yeah, he ended up catching the fucking stupid strike for exposing the drag queens dancing in front of kids. Yeah, okay. The child harassment policy. Get fucked, you bunch of weirdos. But no, he's going to be exclusively over on Rumble. And the fuck was I talking about? Yeah, anti-NRA. Yeah, no. He pointed out that, 5 different articles on the Washington Post were just ready to drop like that, especially one highly edited was there an AR-14 article that ended up dropping? It was at least something gun specific that was over there. It was so fucking planned. Like, they were waiting for this, obviously, because I'd imagine they probably just back in the tank, they probably also have the angry, the white man that's out there causing all these school shootings, and then just trying to shirk in responsibility. It's like, oh, maybe it's those mentally ill individuals, like the one in Denver. God, there was another one as well. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of trans shooters lately. But don't want to talk about that now, do you? That might make a couple of uncomfortable realities come to light. But yeah, no, exactly. Like, that shit was so fucking stupid. So we angle back. Yeah, dude, I love this. Yeah, punk. Yeah, it was pathetic. Yeah, exactly. I'll be at work though. I'll have you on speaker. Yeah. I'll have to make sure to bring my A game, George. Okay, I have to make sure to bring my A game on that one. Yeah, that could be fun. Either that or Wednesday. I think I should be able to make it work tomorrow, though. If that works for you guys. Especially for you guys that are in here. Because, yeah. One last time, then we'll close it out. Sunday or Wednesday? What do you guys want? Sunday, Sunday would be a couple hours earlier. Wednesday would be this same time, going for a couple of hours. Let's hear it. It was pathetic. There's more than 60 genders, by the way, you fucking bigot, okay? Oh my god, AFD? Bruh. Wednesday, okay. Show it to the camera first, yeah. Yeah, I'll do a little bit of pre-screening on that stuff. Obviously, yeah, everything's going to be archived in the stream as well, so I'll be able to pull it up. AFD politician. Yeah. The fuck does AFD stand for? I know it's something for Deutschland. Fucking Christ. Anyways, yeah, either one is good. Yeah, show it to the camera first. Wednesday. You guys seem to be pretty happy and full force on Wednesday. Okay. It seems like Wednesday's got it on that one. Okay. Yeah, Wednesday to keep the spread. He's calm, I'm thinking here, Roger. Okay. There you go. Yeah. There you go. Roger got wrench. You've been here the entire fucking time. Actually, everybody that I see in here, that one ad. Okay, add as moderator. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I heard the AFD from somewhere, so yeah, okay. Yeah, Wednesday. Okay. Yeah, we'll go Wednesday on that one, so. Okay. I think, really, guys, I hate to be placating, patronizing, and all that shit, but I really do appreciate everybody turning out for that one. Kind of a clusterfuck, bit of a disaster, but had a lot of fun. You guys seem to have a lot of fun as well, as long as your notifications work. if we're going to be doing the gun one, I'll make sure everybody knows by posting the link on YouTube and then also blasting it out on Twitter as well, because Rumble's the future, man. 1000%. So, yeah, we'll go over there, but I'll make sure everybody knows about that. It's probably Wednesday. Wednesday will be fun. So, thank you all for spending so much of your just about 3 hours with me here on a Saturday night. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to spend it with a guy up in northern Alberta talking shit, agreeing with Andrew Tate, switching from interviews midway through because streams were taken down multiple different times, and I can't thank you enough. You guys mean the world to me, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. So enough modeling shit anyways. So we'll be back probably Wednesday with that gun review. Shout out to Wasangla then, man. You guys, I'm not pronouncing words right and I'm not pronouncing names right. We'll just do the roll call and then we'll sign the fuck out. How about that? Jennifer, shout out to you. Roger, big shout out to you. Wasangla, that's the name that you're going to get from now on. Verkas Games, shout out to you, bro. You must have been in the chat for a while. George, thanks, man. I've seen you've been here for the entire time. That's why. That's why you also got the big boy promotion that's in there. Okay, and yeah, Jen for sure. Proud Patriot girl. Yo, man. We talk back and forth in the comment section all the fucking time. Shout out and thanks for turning up for this one. Brian, if you're still in there, hey man, shout out to you as always. Who else do I need to stand and recognize when it comes to this? Static, if you're still kicking around, man. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you all for turning out on that one. So, without further ado, oh, you survived Cupcake. I didn't. Yo, man. Let me tell you something about Cupcake, okay? Brian, I knew you were still kicking around, man. Okay. All I seen was these fucking text boxes, okay? And the way that OBS is set up and shit like that, okay, I had the chat on one side. Yo, that bitch was just fucking blowing up the comment section. I have no idea, man, what she was talking about at all, and I'm not going to watch this atrocity back, so I'll just leave it up to you guys. I know Quetz, my boy Ed in there, he was like, yo, okay, this bitch needs a 5-minute chill out for a second, and yo, she was not back at all whatsoever, so yo, man, if she was being super obnoxious, all I seen was just a couple of us like, Tate has ruined a generation. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, cupcakes. Okay, if we want to really break it down when it comes to that, just, cry yourself to sleep at night and hopefully your cat doesn't lick off all the icing when it comes to your cupcake. So, that's as good a place I've ever ended now, isn't it? So, with all of that said, I thank you all very, very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Catch you all with 3 tomorrow and stream on Wednesday, I think. Stream on Wednesday. Sounds good, all. Peace.